Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions on Thursday sought to speed up the deportation of undocumented immigrants, telling immigration judges they should only postpone cases and removal proceedings for good cause shown. Sessions, in an interim order that was criticized by some lawyers, said the good cause standard limits the discretion of immigration judges and prohibits them from granting continuances for any reason or no reason at all. Unlike the federal judiciary system, U.S. immigration courts fall under the Department of Justice, and the Attorney General can intervene. Sessions has been unusually active in his practice compared to his predecessors. Sessions has led efforts by the Trump administration to crack down on undocumented immigration, including a zero-tolerance policy that separated immigrant parents from their children while they were in U.S. detention. Trump abandoned the separation policy in June under political pressure. Sessions said on Thursday, critical in showing good cause is whether a person is likely to succeed in efforts to remain in the United States, either by appealing for asylum or receiving some form of visa or work permit. Stephen King, an attorney for the ACLU Immigrants' Rights Project, described Sessions' order as troubling and one of a series that has moved in the direction of restricting due process rights for individuals who are in removal proceedings. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Following several months of negotiations, representatives at the Minnesota State Museum confirmed today that they've extended their final offer to the anonymous owner of the couch from the hit 1970s sitcom The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
We hope an agreement can be reached soon because after months of back and forth, we just need a straight answer here.
Healy noted that the brown velvet artifact would be a welcome addition to its media wing, which boasts a robust collection, including several iconic Minnesota pieces.
We have the fence from Grumpy Old Men. We acquired the puck from the Mighty Ducks several months ago.
Healy and his team made their first bid in December of 2012 and have cycled through 5 rounds of negotiations, reportedly tripling their initial offer in an urgent attempt to secure the sale.
It's not every day that an artifact of this significance comes on the market and went... Oh my God, it's him. It's him, okay? Hello, sir. What would you say if I went up another 2?
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome to Free Talk Live. As always, you are invited to take control of the airwaves. Our toll-free number for you to do that is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, you can reach us on our Discord on-air call-in lines. We got 3 of those lines available for you through our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. You will probably be needing the Discord app in order to use those, and then you'll sound great, almost like in some cases you're sitting here in the studio with us. And that us tonight includes me, Ian.
And Christopher Wade.
And Daryl.
So there's been interesting news in the world of pirate radio, which is a topic that we've kind of come back around to from time to time here on Free Talk Live because it's near and dear to my heart. I got into radio because of pirate radio. Like I was
movie or
no,
like
just the concept.
Pirate radio?
Just the the concept of being able to broadcast without asking for permission. And so I've got a lot of respect for the people that that do that kind of thing without asking, whether it's just playing music or talk in the case of the station we'll be discussing.
Right.
Whatever it is that they want to put out there, I think it's great that that people do that without begging the government. Unfortunately, the government could come in and raid your house over it and also apparently bring a lawsuit. And Daryl, that's what brings us to Austin, Texas.
Yeah, and I actually saw this story Wednesday night, and, well, I wasn't on the show last night because I wasn't feeling so good. But
you were on the throne last night.
All day, all night, yeah. But I've seen a lot of misrepresentation of facts on social media about this story.
Seriously? On social media, people are misrepresenting
That never happens.
I know. Well, and it's all because
the mainstream media that is covering this, they're putting the words Alex Jones, radio, FCC, shut down, all in the headline.
Is there like a mainstream media attack on Alex Jones? Like a coordinated attack going on?
There seems to be. I don't
certainly
really know.
love to hate him, don't they?
He is a crazy man.
They love to hate him, though. Like, did Rush Limbaugh... I mean, there were times when Rush Limbaugh got headlines back in the 1990s. He was certainly in the news. It feels like Alex Jones is at that level. You know what I mean?
Probably.
For listeners that aren't familiar, Rush Limbaugh, of course, was the originator, if you will, of American talk radio back in the late 1980s. I think it was like 1989.
Yeah, right after whatever that like fairness clause. Actually, the fairness doctrine.
It might have been 88. I think I heard he just celebrated 30 years. So that's kind of what got everything started. I mean, whether you like Rush or not, he essentially the talk radio business as it exists kind of owes it to Rush Limbaugh to some extent. I mean, it probably would have happened without him, but he was the first one to kind of do this whole talk show syndicated thing.
Right. So what actually happened in Austin, Texas is there was a pirate radio station that was on the air for a really long time.
I think there's been more than one iteration of it, too.
There have been, but this particular station was on the air from at least, according to the Pittsburgh Tribune, at least 2013. The station went off the air in December of last year. However, the reason this is in the news now is because the FCC has filed a lawsuit against the operators who are refusing to pay the fine. So the operators, they complied with whatever the FCC thing was to go off the air. And if you go to their website, they have...
Well, because normally the FCC doesn't issue a fine unless the operator continues operating.
I'm guessing here from the statement on their website, due to circumstances beyond our control, the current location site of the tower is no longer available. Yeah. The tower was on top of a building that they own. So I don't know why the top of a building that they own is no longer available to them for a tower.
Right.
Unless...
What if they sold it?
They caved. I mean, because the FCC must have... Okay, so what happens normally when a station is targeted, when a pirate radio station is targeted by the FCC, they will send what's called a notice of apparent liability.
Right.
And the notice says to the property owner, they send one there, and then the suspected operator, whoever that might be,
which in this case
be a renter,
is the same people.
They will send one to each party, and they'll say, hey, look, you aren't authorized to broadcast. If you believe you are, you need to go ahead and prove, show us your license, all the stuff, that you are operating legally. Otherwise, you need to cease immediately or else. And so it's usually later that the or else comes if the person doesn't cease operating immediately.
Right. So, it's kind of difficult to tell exactly, where in this process they actually wound up, shutting down operation. But it was December 2017, according to their website. But again, the reason this is in the news now is because of this lawsuit that was filed by the FCC, because the operators, Walter Olenek and Ray Nadler Olenek, are refusing to pay the $15,000 fine.
That's awesome. Ooh.
The lawsuit filed in federal court in Austin alleges Texas Liberty Radio operated on a channel without a license since at least 2013. Court documents show the FCC had tracked down the transmission to a 50-foot tower at an Austin apartment complex owned by an entity linked to the Oleneks. A message left with the Oleneks was not immediately returned for comment. According to a letter the FCC entered as an exhibit in the lawsuit, the Oleneks refused to pay the fine or recognize the FCC's authority.
Excellent.
Saying they would regard their agents as trespassers should they return. According to a message on the website, they stopped airing in December, but they're continuing as an online stream.
Good for them.
Now, the reason Alex Jones's name is thrown about in this...
He was on the station.
He was one of the shows on this station.
Yeah, and Alex is based in Austin, so it could be understood that would be considered his flagship station.
Right, but, any connection between Alex Jones and the Texas Liberty Radio is merely circumstantial.
Yeah, I mean, unless Jones has been secretly funding the station behind the scenes, but that information hasn't been revealed.
That's not any evidence that's been presented, but all of the headlines are, and the headline from the Pittsburgh Tribune, FCC shuts down Alex Jones' flagship pirate radio station. Headline from the Austin American-Statesman, Austin pirate radio station that airs Alex Jones faces fine, although I think they have changed this since I first pulled it up.
Well, that's good.
Several other headlines were Alex Jones' flagship station shut down by FCC, which would lead people to think Alex Jones had a licensed station that the FCC just shut down.
People could think that,
And there have been people that have been posting things like that of, the FCC's going after Alex Jones now. No, that's not at all what happened.
No, but it wouldn't have been as interesting of a headline if he wasn't on the station. It wouldn't have been as interesting.
It's all of this, telephone. You remember the game of telephone?
Yes, of course.
Where you would say something.
Know that game?
You would say something to the person next to you. They would say it to the person next to them.
Yeah,
and then by the time it got back to you, it's totally different.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Yeah, that is social media in 2018.
Chris, you do know the game telephone.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
of course.
So let's go to the phones here. To the phone, we can talk more about the raid and pirate radio and all that stuff here in moments. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450, free like freedom. We got Bill. He's in California listening during drive time. Hey, Bill. Out there.
Well, I'm not driving anywhere. I'm sitting here by my house by the lake, but I've earned that right. I'm retired.
Excellent.
Anyways, I was listening to the opening of the show. I'm a little surprised and maybe disappointed in you guys. You guys are radio veterans. To say that Rush Limbaugh invented talk radio is as preposterous as the man himself. Rush Limbaugh is only about 60 years late in his version of talk radio. Mainly the acknowledged inventor of talk radio was Father Charles Coughlin, of course. You're familiar with him, right?
I am not, but please tell me about him, because what I was referring to was sort of the syndicated talk radio that we're used to today. Obviously, there were people talking on radio stations before that.
Charles Coughlin was a priest in the Detroit area who broadcasted out of the Church of the Little Flower, and it was in the early days of radio, and it was a syndicated program. He had millions of listeners all over the United States.
Really?
He broadcasted through the 1930s with a syndicated radio program, but he became critical of the Roosevelt administration into the mid to late 30s, and then he, for whatever reason, was kind of like run off the air.
And you're saying his name was Charles Coughlin?
Father Charles Coughlin.
Hang on, Bill. If you got more to say, you're welcome to join us here. A little history lesson. Rush Limbaugh, not the first big syndicated talker. It's Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. Zencash recently surpassed 17,000 nodes, which means Zencash has one of the largest node systems of any cryptocurrency. Supernodes will bring network, economic, and technological improvements across the network. And the official Zencash wallet is available for multiple distributions. Learn more at zencash.com. Zencash.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course, you're invited here to take control of the airwaves. I've been talking about the pirate radio station. Daryl, you've got news out of Austin, Texas, where probably one of the longest-running pirate radio stations in the country has finally been taken down, likely due to FCC threats, and they've now filed a lawsuit, the FCC has, against the operators. We can talk more about that coming up here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, and also we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. Free Talk Live brought to you by Bitcoin.com. You want to save big time on your purchases at Amazon, you can use saveatpurse.com. Chris, you're always using Save It Purse.
Oh, yeah.
I am as well. In fact, we're building something very exciting here that I think is going to be pretty cool for the Keene area and the cryptocurrency community. I don't know if I should say yet what it is because it's not done yet. But we're ordering all the parts through saveatpurse.com. And I'm starting at a 29% discount to do that. And I've gotten a few orders fulfilled like within the first 24 hours. Still waiting on delivery, but 29% is just an unprecedented amount of savings. You can easily save 20% if you need something quickly.
I usually get 28%, 29%, right? And it usually is fulfilled with sometimes almost instantly, and definitely within a couple days usually.
SaveItPurse.com is where you can go to learn more about that. And they are now accepting Bitcoin Cash as one of the two cryptocurrencies that you can have kind of on your wallet there at SaveItPurse.com. Again, accepting Bitcoin Cash. SaveAtPurse.com. We go back to Bill in California listening to KVLI. Bill, you're talking about what you might call an early syndicated talk show host, because I had called out Rush Limbaugh as being sort of the father of the modern talk radio movement.
It's a common misconception, and maybe even Limbaugh himself might be perpetrating that myth.
It wouldn't surprise me.
His father, Charles Coughlin, and like I said before, he was very popular. He had millions of listeners across the country. It was a syndicated nationwide feed out of Detroit.
Well, I suspect they were probably sending it over some sort of recorded method back then. They wouldn't have had satellite delivery as we do today.
It was pretty much he was broadcasting from a church.
Yeah.
On 10 Mile Road there in Detroit, and then it was however they did it in the 1930s. He was able to pretty much send that signal across the United States. I don't know the technicalities of
They
it. But he
probably
did have
shipped records or whatever, something like that.
They had TV back in that time, and
This is the 1930s. They did not have broadcast television at that time. He, according to Wikipedia, was commonly known as Father Coughlin, was one of the first political leaders to use radio to reach a mass audience, as up to 30 million listeners tuned into his weekly broadcasts during the 1930s. He was forced off in the air in 1939, and it claims he's receiving, or was at one time receiving, 10,000 letters. Another claim here, 80,000 letters. So I don't know what the real number is, but it sounds like he was fairly popular.
Right, and also I want to kind of like talk about the fairness doctrine that you brought up.
Did we? Okay.
Briefly.
Yeah, I mentioned it because the fairness doctrine is really what allowed talk radio as we know it to, sort of become what it is. Because when the fairness doctrine was in place, television station owners and radio station owners were required to give equal time to diversity of views. So if you had Rush Limbaugh on for 3 hours, you would have to give someone with opposite views 3 hours as well.
I thought that only applied to interviewing people.
No.
Really? Okay.
Could be really interesting.
Yeah, you're correct. You have to give equal time, minute per minute, to any kind of. If you wanted to attack somebody, you had to give that. If you spent, like when Limbaugh spends, whatever amount of time attacking an individual, any kind of a progressive candidate or something like that, he would have to, on that show, he would have to allow that person he attacked to show up for the same amount of time to defend themselves.
It says here Coughlin was canceled. He expressed an isolationist and conspiratorial viewpoint that resonated with many listeners. So again, conspiracy radio going all the way back to the 1930s there. Some members of the Catholic hierarchy may not approved of Coughlin. It says here the Vatican and other organizations wanted him silenced. They recognized that only Coughlin's superior bishop of Detroit had the canonical authority to curb him, but Gallagher supported the radio priest according to his autonomy and owing to his autonomy and the prospect of the Coughlin problem leading to a schism, the Roman Catholic leadership took no action. After giving early support to Roosevelt, Coughlin increasingly attacked the president's policies. The administration decided that although the First Amendment protected free speech, it didn't necessarily apply to broadcasting. Because the radio, they say here, because the radio spectrum was a, quote, limited national resource, unquote, and regulated as a publicly owned commons. New regulations and restrictions were created specifically to force Coughlin off the air. For the first time, authorities required regular radio broadcasters to seek operating permits. So, very interesting. I presume you probably knew part of that history, Bill?
Yeah, I did. I grew up in Detroit. My father actually knew Father Coughlin. After he was run off the air, he continued to broadcast locally in Detroit, and also he was the pastor at the the Chapel of the Little Flower there in Detroit until 1966 when he died. And like I said, he did. I think he also was somewhat accused of being an anti-Semite also, which wasn't unheard of in the Catholic Church in that era. In the 1930s.
Yep.
And that might have had something to do with his removal from the air or being run off the air. I think it was mainly, though, because of his criticisms of the Roosevelt administration, which got him thrown up. You just explained it there perfectly.
Well, you can thank Wikipedia, whoever contributed to that article. Hey, Bill, thanks for bringing it to our attention tonight. Interesting little dose of history. I appreciate hearing from you. Oh, shoot.
Did you disconnect?
Well, anyway, Discord lines are open over at discord.lrn.fm. So, I'm not sure. It makes me curious. The people in the talk radio industry who kind of hold up Rush Limbaugh as this example, maybe there are qualifications on that, like he's the first commercial broadcaster because Father Coughlin was a religious broadcaster.
Well, according to when I did a search for Father of Talk Radio, came up with some guy named Barry Gray from, I believe, the Boston area. He used to be on WOR, and prior to that was on a different radio station. Says in 1945, one night he got bored of simply spinning music and decided to hold the telephone up to the microphone and share his conversation with the listening audience. The caller of the evening happened to be the band leader, Woody Herman, who was one of the most popular celebrities of the day. And that spawned, according to this wiki article, the talk radio format. And he would then do, I'm guessing, says call-ins and interviews of sorts. And he did his show up until he left WMCA in 1989 when it dropped talk radio. He then went to WOR and enjoyed national syndication. And by the time of his death, his show was considered to be politically conservative.
Yeah, so I wonder if Limbaugh was the first. Again, my qualification earlier was syndicated, right?
Right.
So this guy might have just been the guy who created talk radio.
No,
the
it
first
says
one.
He was syndicated.
Was he too? Well, you mean
when
later
he went
on
to WOR.
at WOR? Well, that was syndication had already been created by that point because Limbaugh started, I think, in '88. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, 855, 450, free like freedom. Free Talk Live.
If you like alkaline water or know someone that does, you're going to love the Dylan Living Water Bottle. It creates alkaline water on the go while reducing plastic waste and saving you money. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, the Dylan bottle increases the pH up to 9 to deliver both alkaline and antioxidant water anywhere you want it. Alkaline water is healthier, tastes better, and can even boost energy. The Dylan bottle makes it easy and affordable to be healthy and achieve optimal hydration. Get your Dylan bottle today at dyln.co. That's dyln.co.
This is Jessica Armand, founder of My Magic Mud. Our team helped organize a successful effort to remove fluoride from our city's water supply. This is our passion. My Magic Mud Oral Care purifies and brightens your smile naturally. GCN listeners, please support my family business by purchasing our products from your local health food store. We're also available at CVS Pharmacy, or visit us at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off now with coupon code GCN10.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. The Discord on-air call-in line server is available to you at discord.lrn.fm. We got open lines there for you now. We're talking about pirate radio and some pirate radio operators, or alleged pirate radio operators, in Austin, Texas. I think it's pretty clear they're proud of it, and I think that's great.
Yes.
That have been targeted by the FCC, and Daryl, you're sharing the story with that in hopes also of clearing up a lot of misinformation that's been spewed about on social media on the topic. Of course, you can bring up anything that you want as well. And I do want you to know about Zencash. It's a cryptocurrency that was created in 2017, so it's pretty new on the scene. But that also means they got to pick from some of the best technology out there as far as what they based Zencash on, and it does have zero-knowledge anonymity. So those of you out there looking for a privacy coin that also has a philosophy behind it that is, well, pro-freedom. They're voluntarists who created this crypto. So you've got good philosophy, you've got great technology. They've now launched the super nodes, and of course they've had their secure nodes, which actually pay a small amount to the people who are operating them for kind of contributing to the network, the Zencash network, and making it better. Go to zencash.com to learn more about it, and you can get the Zencash wallet, the official one for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Again, that's zencash.com. So, Daryl, where were we in this story? So they actually shut down the station back in December.
Correct.
After years of operating, at least going back to, what was it, 2013?
Right. So I was able to find on the FCC's website a forfeiture order dated June 3rd, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So over 4 years ago is when the FCC first wound up imposing a fine of $15,000. I also was able to find, thank you to Recap and Pacer, was able to find the complaint filed in federal court by the FCC, and under violations, it says, and I'm not going to read all of this, just read some of the dates here.
So wait, this is filed under civil or criminal?
Federal court.
Right. Civil? Is it a civil case?
Where would it say?
I don't know. I didn't know if it was immediately obvious.
Oh, up at the top. Civil action.
Civil, okay. That's what I figured it would be. Yeah, that's what I figured.
So, under violations on August 12th, 2013, so 5 years ago, in response to a complaint that an unlicensed radio station was operating in Austin, Texas, on the frequency 90.1, agents from the FCC Enforcement Office, or FCC Enforcement Bureau Houston office, conducted an investigation, blah-da-da-da-da, found the location. Search of FCC databases revealed no evidence that the FCC authorized a radio station to operate on that frequency or location.
So they came in pretty quick. I mean, if the station started back in 2013...
That's why the article says...
they must have been operating for years without permission.
At least 2013.
Well, so there have been more, as far as I know, and if somebody's in Austin who knows better... before 2013, there was a pirate operator in Austin, but it may not have been the same people.
Right, and I know when I lived in San Antonio, which is not that far from Austin, but it's far enough to where you can't hear their radio signals.
Right.
I know that there was something in Austin that was called Chaos Radio.
No, Chaos is... I'm pretty sure Chaos is just it's a public station of some sort. It's down at the low end of the band.
No, okay.
I could be wrong about that.
Some of the people that I know that said they had shows on there would have made me think that it was a pirate radio station acting like it was a legit station.
Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe the FCC would never give out those call letters. There's certain call letters that the FCC just won't issue.
Right. Continuing on, On September 6, 2013, an agent from the Houston office issued a warning of unlicensed operation letter to defendants, advising them that the operation of the unlicensed station from their property violated the FCC Act. The violation could result in severe penalties, including but not limited to monetary fine, seizure of broadcast equipment, and criminal sanctions, and that unlicensed operation must cease immediately. So in September 2013, they said this must stop.
Chaos was a pirate station, according to the Austin Chronicle. Shut down by the FCC in 2010. They played music.
In November 2013, agents again went out there. February 2014, and then there was the letter from the FCC in June 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So this happened over several years.
I'm surprised they didn't take action sooner. You know?
So am I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and where's
am I.
the damn, where's the video? I mean, if you're running a radio station, a pirate radio station, do you not know how to use a video camera? Like, when the FCC shows up, the FCC showed up here in Keene, New Hampshire. I went over with a video camera and got video of it when we had a pirate radio station operating here. I got a call that agents were snooping around a neighborhood nearby. It was a few streets over from where we're located. And they were easy to find. There was nobody else out on the streets. So, it was clear who they were.
Right.
And there's video of that. So if you're running a pirate radio station, you probably have a smartphone because, why would you not? If you're in the United States, you probably have a smartphone.
Right.
If at the very least to monitor your radio station if you've got a stream with. So you should have a video device with you at all times. If the FCC shows up to ask questions or to try to ask questions, obviously you don't have to answer their questions. They're not even the cops. You certainly don't have to answer the cops' questions. You have a right to remain silent. You definitely have that right when it comes to FCC agents. But go ahead and put a camera in their face. If you pull up the video of when I do this,
yeah, that was super interesting when you did it. Yeah.
They don't like that.
No, they didn't,
and they're not used to it at all.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah. So in that case, that particular radio station did shut down, and actually it's been quite a while since Keene has had one of them. But we've actually had a history of pirate radio in Keene. I mean, probably not the same extent as Austin, because the thing with Austin is the people there, not just these operators, but I think the ones before that, and Sam Dodson, who lived down there and then lived up here for a while, or he lived in a different place, Plano. But anyway, he knew who the operators were previously, and it was a different couple. I'm almost certain, unless they changed their name, it was a different couple. I think it was a man and a woman, and they did a show called Rule of Law Radio on that radio station. So I don't know what ended up happening with them, because I remember hearing that they were fighting the FCC and refusing to shut down. So Austin has always had, of its pirate radio stations, some of the most, I would say, hardy pirates, the ones that are going to stick with it and keep broadcasting. In the case of these folks, the Olenics, you said they owned the building in which the alleged antenna was operating from, which is good, because then you don't have the ability for the FCC to come down on your landlord, and then the landlord comes in and says, look, man, it was cool for a while, but you got to cut it out.
Clause
$10,000 fine.
17.4-3 of the lease says that you're not going to break any laws, and you're breaking some laws, so I've got to kick you out.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it says. But
like it's a standard thing that, you're not going to do illegal stuff out of the place that you
Well, they wouldn't
rent.
kick you out. The landlord would just be like, dude, man, just turn it off. You got to turn it off. And then if you don't have a landlord, you don't have that problem.
Right.
So what else do we need to know about this?
Well, we've covered, other than I could sit here reading more of the criminal, or not the criminal complaint,
well, okay, let's talk about that for a moment, because to me this seems pretty unprecedented. The theory has always been, and I've mentioned this on the radio before, that the theory has been that the FCC won't file this suit, and now they have, and there have been other pirates who haven't paid them. So there's been a theory that the FCC won't file the suit because they don't want to be challenged on free speech grounds.
Right.
They've never apparently, and again, you've heard my misinformation so far tonight, so sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. But, I have done some research in pirate radio. It was something I was into. They apparently have never done this before, because they have to then go through the process of, trying to get them to pay up this $15,000 or whatever the amount has accrued to now.
$15,000 is what's mentioned in this suit.
They have to get a judgment.
Sounds
in their
like
favor.
They might also want the equipment. I'm not really sure.
Probably the seizure. Yeah, they'll sell it or whatever. So you want to comment? You're welcome to join us here. 855-450 free like freedom. And so this sounds like to me a very important case. If this is indeed the first time somebody's gone all the way to the mat and the FCC's come at them all the way on this so far. More coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of LicoChops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved LicoChops with Omega-6, Omega-3, Vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try LicoChops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
You sit at a desk. They sit at a desk. You have sales reports. They have book reports. You need supplies. They need supplies. Business is a lot like school. That's why your small business should take advantage of back-to-school deals at Staples. This week, Staples 120-sheet filler paper is just 50 cents. Plus, a 10-ream case of multi-purpose paper is only $32.99. Make back-to-school your business at Staples.
While supplies last. In-store only. Offer ends 8/18/18. Limit 5 on filler paper, 10 on case paper.
Well, that grass isn't going to cut itself. I'll be outside.
Wait, you're mowing the lawn in that?
What?
In your one-piece riding leathers?
Yeah.
Because you might fall off the push mower?
You're right. I should probably wear my helmet too.
Not what I meant.
It's hard to be without your bike, so do something easy and protect it with Progressive Motorcycle Insurance. With basic policies as low as $75 a year, you'll be back on the road in no time. Visit Progressive.com to quote today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
This is the Onion Week in Review. A month after the death of leader Kim Jong-il, North Korea's 24.5 million citizens have returned to their regular daily routines this week, holding a festive synchronized disco jump rope gala in Pyongyang's main public square. Life in the hermetic communist nation is reportedly beginning to normalize following the protracted mourning period, with citizens once again donning their brightly colored uniforms and performing intricate gymnastics routines in perfect unison.
It is an inspiring sight to see so many loyal citizens find the strength to unfurl their long silken streamers and do dozens of tandem backflips set to dance music.
Observers reported that new North Korean leader Kim Jong-un nodded once in approval of the disco jump rope gala, signaling an official transfer of power.
A recent study from the Centers for Disease Control finds that over 100 million children are being exposed to harmful levels of stupidity in their own homes. Hear the debate about secondhand ignorance on the next In the Know.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free and take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in lines at discord.lrn.fm, where you can jump in those rooms and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Also, the Discord server is your way of connecting with other Free Talk Live listeners and some of the hosts of the show. You can do that 24/7. There are multiple channels there covering a variety of different topics, whether it be cryptocurrency, some of the activism here in New Hampshire, or other discussions. Video games are even there. Go to discord.lrn.fm and you can get interactive there for free. Once again, that's discord.lrn.fm. I was looking at the NPR piece, Daryl, about this pirate radio station that's been targeted by the FCC over a number of years, over at least the last half a decade.
Yes.
It sounds like. And some are saying the station has operated for much longer than a decade, so I'm not real sure what the history of it is. I know there have been, for a long time, there has been a pirate operation, at least one of them, in Austin, Texas. There was one of them that aired Free Talk Live for a time.
Oh, nice.
And in fact, I believe that was the same time at which Alex Jones actually was a caller on Free Talk Live. There were a couple of times when we went to Alex in Texas, and it was Alex Jones calling us. And I think
was it actually Alex Jones?
It was actually Alex Jones.
Or was it one of the Wheels Off Liberty guys pretending to be Alex Jones?
No, it was the real Alex Jones. And so anyway, looking at this story, they actually get a comment from longtime Free Talk Live guests. Whenever we go to any crypto conference, we're always talking with Danny Sessom from the Crypto Show. And
Crypto Show being one of the shows on that network.
Correct. I believe it actually airs live on the pirate radio station. You said network. You mean the pirate radio station in Austin?
Right, the Texas Liberty Radio.
Yeah. I don't know if they have any other stations besides their internet feed, so I don't know if you can call that well, I guess it could be considered a network if it's a network of shows.
Online radio network.
Yeah, that's true. So
they're on Roku and a couple other things, according to the website.
Right, and the Crypto Show is also featured on our little network, which is called Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. In fact, they've been there on LRN for years. And in response to the Associated Press and Inside Radio referring to the pirate station as Jones's flagship, Danny Sissom was quoted saying that their station, Texas Liberty Radio, only rebroadcast Jones's show. Calling it anything else, he said, was, quote, actual fake news, unquote. So it sounds like he feels just about as you have on this one, Daryl.
Yeah.
The press just misrepresenting this.
Right, and a lot of it's, the press trying to make some kind of connection to Alex Jones, but then you've got all of the people on social media that will read simply a headline. They never click the story. Mm-hmm. They read a headline, and then they'll interpret what they think the story is based on what they read the headline to be. And then, it's that game of telephone to where 4 generations later, somebody's commenting on what they think somebody thinks happened.
Yeah, they can't even bother to read the summary, yeah?
So when the FCC first penalized Olenek, this is the NPR report, and it was 2 men, right? Olenek and Nadler Olenek?
Married couple. So Ray was apparently the wife.
Oh, Ray could be a female.
Ray, R-A-E.
Ah, okay.
Not R-A-Y.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Then.
So they're referred in one of the FCC things as Mr. and Mrs. Olenek.
The Austin Chronicle noted that the 90.1 FM frequency in Austin has, quote, aired New World Order warnings for more than a decade, earning it the nickname Alex Jones Radio, unquote. In a string of, which is why I say that, it's an understandable mistake for somebody to make, given that, again, Jones lives in Austin,
right,
is doing his show from Austin. It's understandable that somebody would say, oh, that's his flagship. And honestly, it's pretty cool if your flagship radio station is a pirate radio station.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we could say that, but we can't. It's not happening in Keene right now.
A lot of people, they'll just throw around the word flagship and not even use it in the way that it's supposed to be used.
Well, I mean, traditionally a flagship is a station from which the person is producing the show.
Right.
But I don't know if that is, a hard, firm definition of it. I mean, it's radio slang, right? So it can be whatever you want it to
be. Right, but for, let's say,
if I wanted to if WKBK was airing Free Talk Live here in Keene and they were doing it 7 nights a week and we were live, would it be wrong for me to call that our flagship radio station?
That's a good question.
Yeah, or could you just define anything as your flagship? Couldn't WRKO be our flagship radio station?
I know with sports broadcast, there will be, because, they're broadcasting from a stadium.
Right.
But
there's an originating station.
Whatever the originating station is.
Correct.
Is the flagship station.
Yeah. But if you don't have an originating station, then do you get to pick a flagship?
Then you technically don't have a flagship.
Yeah, I don't know. In a string of correspondence,
you're like a navy with no country.
With the FCC, the Oleniks dismissed the agency's claims, and this is this is what I want to get. And I've heard that it might actually be included in the case, maybe as an attachment or something like that. There's one article that claims that. In a string of correspondence, they dismissed the agency's claims against them as preposterous and unfounded, saying in essence that they never agreed to be regulated by the U.S. government, which is kind of the one of the freedom arguments, right? One of the courtroom theory kind of Freeman arguments, if you will, that some people have been claiming for years, which is, hey, look, if government is by consent, as its founding documents will claim,
right?
If government is by consent of the governed, we don't consent to be governed. Therefore,
well, see, the people that
can't act on us.
The people that claim to be agents of the government, they like to point out, oh, well, no, see, the consent of the governed, that's in the Declaration of Independence, which is not a legally binding document.
It's also in at the very least, the New Hampshire state constitution, and it's in other state constitutions as well.
The state constitutions are not the U.S. Constitution, and so therefore, argument invalid.
Wouldn't it? I mean, you would think that the state constitution
argument invalid.
Yeah, but you would think the state constitution would override any federal constitution.
No, because see, they're in federal court. So therefore, your state constitution doesn't matter. Invalid, overruled.
If the state constitution for
contempt of court
proceeds,
bailiff arrest that man. He won't shut up.
If it's preceding the joining of the U.S., right? You would think that you would have to abide by the prior law of the land.
Oh, you're trying to logic.
Yeah,
you
very
can't
true.
logic
very true.
with the federal government.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and I don't remember offhand if the consent of the governed is mentioned in the U.S. Constitution. I don't recall whether. I don't think it is.
That's in the Declaration of Independence.
Okay.
Which they say is not a legally binding document, but somehow it legally separated the colonies from Britain.
Well, it's an interesting argument.
It's Schrodinger's legal document to where it's both legally binding and not legally binding at the same time.
Even if it... Well, first of all, it's interesting to see somebody actually moving ahead with this particular claim.
Right.
I don't think I agree it's probably not going to hold water in federal court, because I'm sure it's not the first time somebody somewhere has tried a similar claim. I know our friend Jay Noon, who has lost his house on a property tax freedom stand where he didn't pay the arbitrary demands of the town of Palmer, and they stole his house from him. He did file some kind of action based on a theory, and I don't know what. I'm sure Jay could explain it here, but some kind of theory in federal court, and it didn't succeed.
Right.
So, and again, that doesn't mean they won't succeed with this particular attempt. They've obviously been fighting the FCC for quite a long time, and it's interesting that the FCC has filed this suit because, again, some of the people in the pirate radio world have said that this wouldn't happen because the FCC doesn't want to be challenged on free speech grounds, and this would have opened that challenge, right?
Right.
And so I hope that these operators, whoever they are, the Oleniks, don't just go in there and say, well, we don't consent, and that's their only argument. It would be nice if they also argued of, well, hey, free speech. So even if you want to claim your regulations apply to us, well, they don't apply to us because free speech.
Right. Not part one. First Amendment. Right. I'm thinking, New Hampshire Constitution. It's part 1, part 2, article this. But First Amendment. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech.
I would like to think that would hold
the press.
That argument would hold water, but I suspect they're going to come back and say, well, we're not regulating your speech. We're regulating, the frequency, and if you would come and signed up for a permission slip, or whatever,
right? But
that we would allow it. but because you didn't follow proper protocol,
you're not supposed to be able to regulate the press either. So it doesn't matter if you're regulating my speech. You're saying I can't be the press.
Yeah.
I wonder what the ACLU would say about this particular case.
Good question.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733 if you want to talk about pirate radio or whatever's on your mind. You can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live, and we may be on pirate stations.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 17th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.70 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,180 per ounce. Zen Cash is trading at $70, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,505. Antiwar.com reports Congress has the power to set the foreign aid budget, but the Trump administration may not be planning on letting them keep it, with officials reporting that they are planning a rescission package to cut money out of the aid budget. The theory is that the administration could cut some of the money appropriated by Congress but not yet spent. The goal is to eliminate about $3.5 billion, including $200 million in frozen Syria aid and an unspecified amount of aid to the Palestinians. Senate leadership in both parties is loudly opposing this, complaining it would be a blow to both the State Department and U.S. aid. Senator Bob Corker said he's considering blocking the move, though despite being the Foreign Relations Committee chairman, he's not clear if there's a way to do that legally. President Trump wanted the cuts to foreign aid included in the budget originally, but Congress refused to do so. The Office of Management and Budget appears to believe that those cuts can still be made to happen. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports at least 1,400 Google employees signed a letter to company leadership demanding more transparency over a project the tech giant is working on that would be accepted by the Chinese government. The project is a search engine designed to comply with the Chinese government censorship laws, and Google employees said they need more information about the project to determine whether it raises any urgent moral and ethical issues. The employees said in the letter, "Currently, we do not have the information required to make ethically informed decisions about our work, our projects, and our employment." In 2010, 2010, Google removed its search engine from the Chinese web over censorship. But in 2016, Google began developing a new search engine, codenamed Dragonfly, to be more compliant with Chinese government demands. The Google employees stated in their letter that the decision to build Dragonfly was made in secret and progressed even with the artificial intelligence principles in place. It makes clear that the principles alone are not enough. We urgently need more transparency, a seat at the table, and a commitment to clear and open processes. Google employees need to know what we're building. Although Google appears to be working on a search engine designed to comply with Chinese government censors, it's not yet clear if officials would accept it. In audio of a meeting with employees that was obtained by the New York Times, Google CEO Sundar Pichai said the company was not close to launching a search product in China. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions on Thursday sought to speed up the deportation of undocumented immigrants, telling immigration judges they should only postpone cases in removal proceedings for good cause shown. Sessions, in an interim order that was criticized by some lawyers, said the good cause standard limits the discretion of immigration judges and prohibits them from granting continuances for any reason or no reason at all. Unlike the federal judiciary system, U.S. immigration courts fall under the Department of Justice, and the Attorney General can intervene. Sessions has been unusually active in his practice compared to his predecessors. Sessions has led efforts by the Trump administration to crack down on undocumented immigration, including a zero-tolerance policy that separated immigrant parents from their children while they were in U.S. detention. Trump abandoned the separation policy in June under political pressure. Sessions said on Thursday, critical in showing good cause is whether a person is likely to succeed in efforts to remain in the United States, either by appealing for asylum or receiving some form of visa or work permit. Stephen King, an attorney for the ACLU Immigrants' Rights Project, described Sessions' order as troubling and one of a series that has moved in the direction of restricting due process rights for individuals who are in removal proceedings. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Last month, the FDA approved Hallucex, a new class of weight loss drug that helps users avoid overeating by producing nightmarish hallucinations whenever food is around. Hallucex targets the brain's cerebral cortex, stimulating the centers responsible for fear and visual processing. Test subjects reported an unprecedented decrease in appetite and showed dramatic weight loss, with only 18% reporting night terrors or subsequent cardiac arrest.
It's designed to make fatty and sugary foods even scarier. An apple just looks like it has fangs, but a milkshake will threaten you and your family by name.
Earlier incarnations of the drug proved to be too powerful and produced mental states in which test subjects no longer believed that food had ever existed. An unshakable belief that the subject had to eat all of the food on the planet in order to prevent food from rising up and destroying the human race.
No, you don't understand. I have to do this.
Or the conviction that food could be negotiated with diplomatically. With the Lab Report, I'm Aisha Patel.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're launching into the second hour of the program. As always, you're invited to join us on the radio and take control of the airwaves here, toll-free, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Discord on-air call-in lines are available to you as well. You can jump in there and sound almost like you're sitting in the studio with us. Just download the Discord app and then join us at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian here.
And Chris.
And Daryl.
So for those of you just tuning in, we've been focusing so far tonight primarily on this pirate radio station operating in Austin, Texas, and I would say flagrantly and wonderfully operating for so many years. It's been an impressive run that they have gone for so long in the face of multiple threatening letters from the FCC, which have been included, I believe, as part of the the civil case that the FCC has now filed in federal civil court against the Olenics, a couple that's been operating the station there allegedly for, some say, as long as a decade. Others, the FCC apparently targeted them in 2013 with a notice of apparent liability, and they did not shut down, which, of course, actually did not lead directly to a raid, even though technically I think the FCC can. I don't know if there's a certain minimum number of these notices that they have to send before they'll actually send in the raiding
Doesn't
party.
A judge have to sign off before a raid
On
occurs?
a raid? I presume they do. Yeah.
I would think so.
That's a good question. I've never looked that deeply into the FCC's filings in one of those cases, and I wonder how often raids like that happen. They certainly have happened. I mean, they happened. One of them happened years ago to the Party Pirate in Tampa Bay, and this was an FM station that, like most pirate radio stations, played music. In fact, there was an interesting story about it. What was it? I think the operator called himself Craven Moorhead. So Craven Moorhead, who was obviously not his real name, on the air, and they actually raided his house, even though he was also running like repeaters for the local police department and the local government. So he had a tower with multiple radio transmitters on it. He was actually providing a service to the town, and yet the local police still were there with the raiding party. It was the FCC, it was the FBI, it was the local police. They came in, and I think the story went that they pointed guns at his cat. And
the cat could be a bomb.
And then also, that it's at one point they took his picture of Jesus off of the wall when they were just taking various different equipment out of the studio. So they're only supposed to be able to take equipment that is tangentially or somehow connected to the broadcast.
Right.
They're not supposed to be taking personal items like that.
Yeah,
and
they
it can only
violate
lead
that,
you
though.
to think that they do that to try to rile somebody up. So that they will jump at them or come at them or get angry, right? Like you point a gun at a cat, somebody's going to freak out. If you take something that's religiously special to a person, they might get angry about that as well. So it seems to me that's what that tactic seems to be. But so
let's
definitely
do something
raided.
to get you to lash out so that we can then shoot you, because when you're dead, there's less paperwork than when we actually go through and file lawsuits and all of this other stuff.
Right, then they can probably just seize the whole house or something like that at that point. So the FCC filed a notice of apparent liability and then several other notices. And at some point in 2013, which probably would be early on, because I think you said it was in 2013 where they first threatened. Yeah, so August. So this letter from the Olenics to the FCC's resident agent of enforcement in Houston, at the Houston office, is presumably their response, or one of their responses. It's let's see, Exhibit C in the lawsuit that the FCC's filed against them. And I just wanted to read what they had to say, because they've got an argument they want to make here.
All
now,
right.
Obviously, making a legal argument in front of the FCC is not going to get you anywhere.
Correct.
They're just going to keep on pushing ahead because it doesn't really cost them anything. They have attorneys on staff, and it's interesting that they haven't filed this kind of suit thus far. So far as I can tell, this is pretty unprecedented. But according to their response, Dear Mr. Lee, again, Lee is the resident agent at the FCC. In short, either provide us with the signed written agreement on which you base having a reason to contact us about such issue, because remember, they were sent a threat saying you aren't authorized to operate at all, or kindly never bother us with your harassment under color of law and office again. Neither of us is aware of any relevant commercial nexus with your company. We feel absolutely no obligation to recognize any artificially imposed and irrelevant deadline for any response to you. We don't consent, directly or by any implication, to any such policy or procedures. Since it's uncertain as to which choice of law applies here, we don't know whether silence would be read as "go but a stump," the law of the land standard, or "we consent," the law of the sea standard, they say, which are two standards I'm not familiar with. But that's kind of gives you a taste of what this theory is that they are basing their response here. They're calling it law of the land, apparently, or they're trying to determine which response.
Right. So I'm guessing the law of the sea thing. And now I know that there's some kind of international treaty called the Law of the Sea Treaty. I don't know if that's what they're referencing, or if they're referencing Admiralty court sort of thing, to where if there's a fringe, then that means you're in the Admiralty court and not the land court, because the
You're
land
talking about the fringe on the flag, for listeners who aren't familiar with the theory.
The land has different rules than the ocean, and
if you cross the bar, you go into the Admiralty zone, right?
Something along those lines. Yeah.
You following this, Chris?
Yeah. I mean,
are you familiar with these theories, these courtroom theories?
Yes, to some degree or another. I'm not intimately familiar with it, but yeah, it's interesting. It's a civil suit, and in a civil suit, I think you probably have to respond, but that's once the civil suit actually.
Well, you have to respond if you
has been initiated.
There's also lower thresholds,
right,
for being found either guilty or responsible in civil versus criminal.
That's correct.
Right.
And if you don't respond, then you can be held in default, and then they, you don't get heard. So I bet you they're going to respond. Again, these are the kinds of people who are going to respond to a lawsuit.
Yeah, certainly at some point they're going to respond.
So
or they should respond.
Going on here. So again, they're trying to determine, they say, which law standard the FCC is threatening them under. So they say, therefore, since we don't consent to anything, we're documenting plainly our affirmative assertion of total and complete lack of consent for all purposes. Should this response happen to satisfy any such time period, feel free to treat this as an act toward mitigating your personal damages and your company's damages rather than any act of consent to anything, whether substantive or procedural, whether administrative or judicial. So it's kind of interesting that they're calling the FCC a company, right? Like they're just sort of looking at this as some random letter that came in from some organization out there trying to have a conflict with you, and that's how they're coming at it. Going on here, it says, further, in the event you're initiating some administrative procedure or other, we'll forever recognize that as an active waiver of any remote sense of, quote, sovereign immunity, unquote, for all purposes, not only due to the necessarily commercial nature of the role that must exist for such an outrageous demand letter to have any meaning whatsoever in the first place, but also due to the fact that you're the one starting such matter. Should the question ever arise, we have no intention of ever establishing any relevant commercial nexus with your company. Further, we recognize your asserted choice of law, and if you feel the need to communicate further with Walter Olenek or M. Ray Nedler Olenek, knock yourself out. If that's your preferred choice of law, then no amount of alleged commercial nexus is going to matter anyway, because under that choice of law, and I'm not sure which choice they're suggesting here, and in that capacity, which capacity and choice of law are totally beyond, quote, this state. I'm getting lost here, Daryl. How about you?
Yeah.
Which renders your demand letter all the more facially preposterous. We are not aware of any relevant commercial nexus with your company. That's the third time for that statement.
Right.
We expect that letters...
the FCC, there's some kind of corporate something, so therefore company and
they
not
are
government.
Corporate. I mean, governments are corporations.
Isn't this the same thing that... with the whole car thing versus motor vehicle,
freedom to travel,
commercial.
There's some crossover here.
But they're arguing something like it's commercial, and because I'm not driving for commercial purposes, it's not driving or something.
That's what they argue, which is
isn't that
one
the
argument.
Same kind of logic here that they're using?
It's similar.
He's not operating a commercial operation.
He hasn't made that claim. He has said that he doesn't have a commercial nexus with the FCC.
Well, a nexus is like creates liability, basically.
He's saying he doesn't have an agreement with the FCC.
Right.
And he's saying, if you have an agreement with me, FCC agent, show your agreement.
But he's using a bunch of different words to
document.
Say that.
Well, he said that early on. That was the first paragraph, was if you've got something that shows we've got an agreement,
right,
pony up the documents. 855, 450, free, like freedom. Your thoughts are welcome.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. So far in 2018, the Innocence Network has welcomed 32 wrongfully convicted people home from prison for crimes they did not commit and had a record-breaking 850 people unite in Memphis at their annual conference. The movement of freeing the innocent and reforming the criminal justice system is growing and would not be possible without your support. Together as 68 network organizations around the world, they've helped exonerate 513 people who spent a combined total of 7,804 years in prison. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. You can join those over at discord.lrn.fm. You can bring up anything. We're talking about pirate radio, one of my favorite topics because I love the idea of freedom of speech. And I don't think anybody should have to ask permission to broadcast speech. So whenever somebody out there doesn't ask permission, it always warms my heart. And I do appreciate the work that they do. Even if they don't air Free Talk Live, as Texas Liberty Radio at the time of its rating did not air Free Talk Live. Although there was a time in the past when we were on a pirate radio station in Austin. I don't know if it was the same station, because pirate radio, sort of by its nature, they don't ask permission. Right. So they don't come to us and say, hey, can we air your radio show? They just air the radio show. And that's fine with us. So you want to comment, you're certainly welcome to do that. I also want to make sure that you know about liberty.menu. Now, I don't know if the pirate radio station was on liberty.menu. It probably wasn't.
Probably not.
They tend to like to kind of stay quiet, even though once you put a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week broadcast on the air, eventually somebody's going to figure out you're not authorized to be there.
Right.
Now, if you don't if you're operating a pirate station and you don't have a bunch of F words and other curse words going out over the air to sort of instantly differentiate your station from the rest of the stations on the dial, then you might be able to make it for a little while before somebody at one of the competing radio stations in town who does have an FCC license jealously calls the FCC and informs them about your existence. So if you're kind of playing it safe, you could make it for a little bit longer, but eventually, even if you're playing it safe and you've got, a clean broadcast, somebody's going to figure it out, and it's usually one of the existing FCC licensed station people because they're jealous. They're right. I mean, at some level, they're jealous. They're mad that they went through the FCC's process, that they got the engineering study done at however many thousands of dollars an engineering study, costs, because that's one of the requirements before you can get a radio station, that they jump through whatever the hoops are the FCC puts up as far as their filing window and how you can get into even apply for the first place.
What's the purpose of an engineering study for radio?
It has to do with the signal pattern. Where's the signal going to cover? Is it going to overlap other existing signals on that same frequency and in the region? So, I mean, there's a reason for it, but ultimately, if you've driven around an area and you found a dead channel where there's nobody on the air, and you've driven what you were expecting your signal pattern to be, then do you really need to have a study to do that? No, it's the FCC. It's just an arbitrary rule that they came up with to put money in the pockets of FCC-connected engineering firms.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what most regulations do.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of the federal version of the local taxi drivers that get upset that Uber's in town.
Yep.
They didn't have to jump through whatever the hoop and hurdle is that I had to jump through, so send that guy to prison.
So we were sharing the response, and it's almost finished, one of the responses at least, from the Olenex, Walter and Ray Nedler Olenek, who were the alleged operators of this pirate station in Austin, Texas. And I didn't finish the story about Liberty.menu. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Liberty.menu is where you can go and you can list your whatever you do, your business or your Liberty event or your digital content for other libertarians and voluntarists to see. It's free to use, so get on over to Liberty.menu to do that there. So the Olenex responding to the FCC's initial notice, the FCC saying, hey, we don't believe you're operating legally, you don't have your license, prove that you do have a license, or stop broadcasting. The Olenex continued to broadcast, allegedly, and they wrote this letter which brings up different types of law. They claim there's law of the land standard and then law of the sea standard, and they're trying to determine, under which color of law or whatever, however, I don't know what all the legal terminology is here, that the FCC is operating. And basically they say, look, it doesn't matter what law standard you're operating under, we're going to let you know that we don't consent, that we did not agree to an agreement at any point with your, what they call company, I think, here at some point. Right. They say we don't have a commercial nexus with you. And it says here, quote, this is page 2, we expect... let's see here. Further, we recognize your asserted choice of law, and if you feel the need to communicate further with the Olenex, knock yourself out. If that's your preferred choice of law, then no amount of alleged commercial nexus is going to matter anyway, because under that choice of law and in that capacity, which capacity and choice of law are totally beyond, quote, this state, unquote. And I'm completely lost at what they're saying here. And if there's some sort of legal experts or some legal theorist out there that can, shed some light on this, feel free to call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. I don't know which choice of law they're referring to, so it's hard to really understand.
They're probably presuming that the agents are making a choice and they're responding to the presumed choice.
But I don't even know what that is because they don't say.
But law of the land, it is a term used in the U.S. Constitution where it says the U.S. Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be made henceforth, and treaties made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land, whereas the law of the sea would be that admiralty sort of thing. So we talking about the rules of the high seas, or are we talking about the U.S. Constitution?
And they claim that the law of the land standard, if you don't respond to a threatening letter, then that means you're telling them off, basically. We don't care what you say. We don't have any obligation to respond. And they're saying under the law of the sea standard, if you don't respond, that means that you consent to whatever it is the person has written in the letter. That's what they're claiming. One of the differences is between them. I don't know what is actually true. Yeah. Going on here with their claims, they say that this renders your demand letter all the more facially preposterous. And we are not aware of any relevant commercial nexus with your company. We expect that letters so addressed would more properly come from your company's international bureau, and then only after there's been some treaty or other discovered to which we are signatories. We're also unaware of any such treaty or other international agreement. Thus again, either provide us with the signed written agreement on which you base having a reason to contact us about such issue at all, or kindly never bother us with your harassment under color of law and office again. So that there's zero confusion on the issue, deliberate indifference is still very much actionable in quote, this state, unquote. As for, quote, common areas, unquote, and for the rest of the property, we hereby give you written notice that under Texas Penal Code Section 30.05, that you do not have our permission or consent to enter 1205 52nd Street, Austin, Texas. Sincerely, the Oleniks. Signed. So that's one of their responses.
Not under duress?
No.
Not with prejudice?
No, it's not under duress because
not UCC-1 whatever?
No, they CC'd it to Art Esvedo, the chief of police, Ajit Pai, the FCC, all of the FCC commissioners at the time, and the general counsel for the FCC, so the attorneys.
Right, but normally people that are using some of the language that they use would sign.
They're not going to say it's under duress because they're claiming they don't have consent. So the FCC is not threatening them with criminal action. It is a threat of a civil lawsuit. So there's still a threat in that they're going to have to waste their time on this case. But there's not a man with a gun, immediately in this case, at least right now. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original, most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
This is Jessica Armand, creator of the fluoride-free oral care brand, My Magic Mud. You're going to love our new products. Our cutting-edge oral rinses deeply soothe your mouth and fight cavities naturally. Our breath spray, My Magic Mist, will invigorate your senses with essential oils of peppermint and eucalyptus. Our clinically proven toothpaste and tooth powders whiten your teeth and detoxify your mouth. Buy discounted bundles direct at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off with coupon code GCN10. mymagicmud.com.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. We're talking about pirate radio at the moment, however, which is, I think, a fascinating discussion because, honestly, it doesn't happen often enough. First of all, people don't do pirate radio often enough because, you know, it's scary. Nobody wants to go up against the federal government. Nobody wants to have their house raided. But on the other hand, when it does happen, and it does happen, especially in larger cities like Boston or New York City and, you know, big cities like that tends to be fairly popular, where there's a large population that just isn't being served in any way, shape, or form by broadcast radio, somebody will put on, you know, Jamaican music or whatever it is they feel needs to be heard. But it's even more rare that when the FCC does make a move and does shut down a station and does issue a fine, that the station actually stands and refuses to pay the fine. Not only refusing to pay, because some will just quietly not pay.
Right.
Then you've got this Austin pirate radio station, Texas Liberty Radio, and they are basically just right out in the open responding to the FCC saying, not only are we not going to pay you... I wonder if that's
the difference between them pursuing it and not pursuing it, though, as opposed to past cases of similar...
That's an excellent question.
They're basically getting up there and being like, screw you, you know, we're not going to, you know, publicly.
So they want to throw down, they want to have a knockdown.
Right, and also
fight.
These people were running this thing for about 4 or 5 years after the very first letter from the FCC saying, knock it off.
Right.
Right, well, most people just shut down.
Yeah, which is awesome. So they just... They thumbed their noses, so to speak, at the FCC.
Which, they did it for long enough to, really irritate somebody.
Which I love. I mean, I think it's fantastic. And I've been hoping that we'll get to see an operator actually, you know, I'm not hoping that somebody gets taken down, but that when they do, that somebody will stand up for their, what is, in my opinion, their right to broadcast. If you're not causing, you know, interference... which is a possibility if you don't, you know, if you don't have a good broadcast location with, you know, proper broadcast equipment, you're much more likely to cause interference in people's radios, for instance.
Well, but that's not why they're shutting people down in this case.
Well, that's ostensibly the reason the FCC exists.
Right. But that's, I mean, the reality is they're shutting them down because somebody complained.
Correct.
Which has probably got nothing to do with interference.
Well, sometimes it can. So if you're broadcasting from an apartment building, you're going to be interfering all kinds of crazy with your neighbors.
Right. And also they were broadcasting on 90.1. There is a station in Austin on 89.9. And according to Radio Locator, there's now something that is licensed to 90.1.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Maybe that's why they
translator of something.
That may be why they finally came at them. They had somebody in the corporate radio world who wanted to occupy that frequency, and they finally had to make a move. But, in the world of freedom, which we would like to see happen, it would be, first of all, we wouldn't have the FCC determining spectrum, number one. So right now you've got the FCC, which is a group of bureaucrats arbitrarily deciding, well, the frequency modulation 24-hour broadcast radio station spectrum will be from, and then, it's 88 megahertz or whatever to 108 megahertz, roughly.
Right.
And they just arbitrarily chose that. There's no reason why the marketplace would necessarily organize in the exact same manner. In fact, it would be interesting to see, the alternate reality in which we didn't have an FCC and how the radio spectrum would look in that particular case. But let people homestead radio frequency.
Here's something that is very, very interesting here. So the station that's currently on 90.1 in Austin,
the legal. Purported legal station.
It's a translator, so it's got one of those, bunch of numbers and couple letter things. That is CSN International, which is part of CSN Radio.
Christian Science?
It's religious. The parent station that
Christian
has
Spirit?
the translator, I don't know. I've not gone to csnradio.com. The station owner is Calvary Chapel of Twin Falls, Idaho. They have 310 transmitters across the country.
Wow.
And all of them are translator. They're K2 something something, W25 blah blah blah.
They've got to have licensed stations if they're translating something.
According to the radio locator, there's one station in Twin Falls, Idaho, and 310 transmitters across the country that are part of this CSN International.
Send me a link to that because I gotta see this. This sounds really crazy. It's just from a technical aspect. But,
I know.
So apparently it stands for. Actually, I'm still not sure. I'm on the site of just CSN. Well, anyway, back to the story here from National Public Radio, which actually has a really detailed piece on the Austin pirate radio station, including court filings, which is where we read the letter, one of the letters responding to the FCC from the Olenics. Back to the NPR's opinion here, or their reporting. It says here, it's unclear whether the Olenics might adhere to the belief long held among some Texans that the state should operate as a republic rather than as a full member of the United States. The FCC's letter, we'll note, was sent to the couple's post office box in Austin. So referencing there, without actually saying it, the secession movement in Texas, which is presumably still alive. I don't know what kind of a hit that it's taken under the Donald Trump administration, because it seems like secession movements in the United States, whether it be Texas or whether it be Vermont, for instance, or California, seem to have some rise and fall in popularity and based on whoever is in office at the presidential level. So when Obama got reelected in 2012, there was that petition with over 100,000 signatures on it online asking about secession, asking about Texas seceding, and then the Obama administration responding to it by saying, well, that was settled during the Civil War. So basically suggesting that we're going to kill you if you try to secede.
Yikes.
So that happened. And of course, the California secession movement, I imagine, has bubbled up a little bit since the Trump administration has come in. Not to say that these organizations go away during the other administrations. It's just that they just don't seem to get the same level of interest. And I hope that at some point we reach a level where secessionists are just like, you know what? Screw these parties. Forget about the United States. Stop getting a belief that you're going to have any kind of sway over what happens in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump, Barack Obama, these people are not friendly to whatever it is your belief system is. If you believe that it's a good idea to some extent to leave the United States, stop letting these people reel you back in, I guess is what I'm saying.
I don't even understand why somebody, just because you've got your guy in power, right? They're going to be gone in 4 years or 8 years, right? Like, why would you want to stick around?
Because people are short-sighted.
Yeah.
You're
just
completely making sense. Yeah.
There's the caller that we had from California a while back when we were talking about that 3 California thing.
Yeah.
And he was in one of the Republican parts of California that would wind up, benefiting from California splitting into 3 states.
But he didn't want the cost,
No! He thought that the Republicans were going to wind up sweeping the elections this year and electing a Republican governor, and Republicans are going to control the House and Senate in California.
It's just delusional.
Right.
But even if they did, even if the Republicans did sweep in, it wouldn't change California's overall direction, just rolling as fast as possible towards ultra-statism. They ultimately already are. They're just not as bad as New York.
Right.
At this point.
Republicans supposedly support smaller government and,
where's the
smaller
evidence?
Budgets. But
they were in charge in D.C. for years, and they didn't do anything to roll back the government.
Trump has said he wants to cut $3.5 billion of foreign aid. The Senate Republicans are opposing it.
Oh, God. The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. A string of further letters. So I suspect there may be more letters in the court filing that we haven't looked at.
There's going to be more letters.
Followed much the same pattern, and in 2014, the FCC imposed the $15,000 penalty. The Olenex didn't pay, and in November of that year, the agency sent a threatening letter to bring in the Justice Department. Instead of seeking the penalty, instead of seeing the penalty notice as an official warning of impending action, the Olenex said they took a different view of the FCC's citation of regulations. We'll tell you more about this case. It's unique, that is for sure, and we'll continue here in moments on Free Talk Live.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With both secure nodes and supernodes, Zencash recently surpassed 17,000 nodes, which means Zencash has one of the largest node systems of any cryptocurrency. These supernodes will bring network, economic, and technological improvements across the network. And the official Zencash wallet is available on Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can also join us online over at freetalklive.com. Lots of ways to interact, lots of ways to download the show. There, of course, are archives for days and weeks and years, going all the way back to 2006 on our website. We've even got a couple of torrents for the original seasons back in 2002 and 2003, so lots of archives available for free at freetalklive.com. We've got YouTube archives going back for several years on our YouTube channel. Of course, our Twitch channel is mostly a live platform, but they have the last couple of weeks archived in HD quality, which you can use. There's like Twitch leeching programs that you can use to actually download the videos from Twitch if you really want to do that. But we do have those available to you. Go to twitch.lrn.fm. You can follow our Twitch channel there. We've got over 400 followers so far, so thank you to everybody who's hit the follow button on us. It's a good way to keep up to date on when we're broadcasting. So we did just kind of look into this just as an aside. We've been talking kind of, I'm not really shop, but we've been talking about radio and specifically pirate radio, which I'm a huge fan of, in this station down in Austin, the Texas Liberty Radio, that has been operating for years in complete flagrant violation of the FCC's regulations, which I love. And of course, as the operators would point out, they never agreed to the FCC's regulations in the first place. And they've demanded that the FCC provide them with the evidence to show, hey, we consented to your agreement, we consented to your rules, show us the proof that that's the case. And this is also similar to an argument made by some of the IRS, taxation is voluntary folks who will also say to the IRS, hey, show me where I agreed to, to have your tax laws apply to me. But
see, you're within this country, and so therefore you agreed because you didn't leave.
Well, that's what somebody who would call our show would say, but the IRS doesn't ever say that, and the FCC won't ever say that either, even though that's ultimately the argument.
That's
here, right?
ultimately the argument is, it's implicit consent. It's not expressed consent.
Hold on. Doesn't the IRS also say even if you're not here, you still owe taxes here?
They do say that, yeah.
Because
you're born here, if your mother pushed you out of her
If you're a citizen
womb.
and you've not revoked your citizenship,
but
and
once again,
it's not been a certain number of years.
As the theorists would say, prove that I'm a citizen. Prove that there is any kind of agreement.
That's true.
Between, because a citizenship.
When did you agree to be a citizen?
Right, a citizen, because your mother pushing you out of her womb is not, illegal. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's not consent. You didn't have the ability to consent, so you didn't make an agreement with the government to have whatever social contract it is that they're saying that you did. Unless you did, in which case, you can probably show somebody joining the military or signing up to work for the government. Those people have agreements with the government. But the rest of us, we were just born here. And there's men with guns calling themselves the state forcing their way on us.
There are people that would say, well, you got a driver's license, you registered to vote, you did
under
this,
duress.
you did all these other
Duress.
things.
Driver's license under duress, and you could also even argue register to vote under duress as a defense mechanism against the state system that's focused upon you. Because even if you rescind your driver's license and rescind your voting registration, that won't stop the government from coming after you.
Right.
So, I appreciate where these guys are coming from. I like the argument because it makes logical sense. But we're not talking about logic. We're not talking about there's some sort of words that you can utter that's going to get you out of this.
Right.
Because ultimately it comes down to men with guns. And that's what the real important point is. And that's what they should have shown which is why I say they should have had video of the FCC coming there and threatening them, or the FCC agents snooping around in the neighborhood and all that. Show people what this is like. Show people how intimidating this process is, and show light on this whole state concept, because they're not there to help you. They're not there to protect you. They're there to harm your ability. In the case of the FCC, they're there to harm your ability to speak.
Right.
They're there to restrict your ability to say what you want in a way that can be heard by more than a person who's sitting across from you.
Right. And Ian, I think you were going to wind up saying something about what we found out about that Christian station.
The Christian
with
satellite network.
310 translators that seem to not be connected to particular AM or FM radio stations.
Yeah, it's an impressive network that...
Yeah, I went to their website. They have, I think it was 37 FM stations, 5 AM, and 341 translators.
And my speculation was correct that it wasn't a religious freedom, but it was a rule of the FCC that if you are a nonprofit operator of radio stations, that you can have translators in any market, anywhere, even if there's not a station for it, to actually be based on.
So this would apply to religious, educational, and government presumably. So NPR would be able to pop up a translator somewhere, even if they don't have a licensed station.
And these guys have over 300 of those translators, which, and again, in commercial radio, the translator has to be able to hear the original station in order to be in a place in which the translator is operating. In the case of this nonprofit, they don't. So they only have one main transmitter, KAWZ, 100,000 watt FM station in Twin Falls, Idaho, which these 300 plus translators are affiliated with. It's an amazing accomplishment, and I was awash with wonder about how much money this all costs. And because again, it's a Christian network, so they're probably very, very well funded with all manner of donations coming in and such. And it's like, man, if you want to join the LRN.FM satellite fundraiser that we have over at Patreon, you can go to patreon.lrn.fm, where we struggle to get $200 raised to support the message of liberty going out to people in other countries. Our satellite channels cover sub-Saharan Africa and North and Central America, and those channels were actually inspired by some of these religious broadcasters. Not that I agree with the viewpoints expressed on those religious broadcasters, but there was one, I think, called The Overcomer, which is some god-awful religious broadcast that is available on like every continent of the planet via satellite radio. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive. I think that we should do that too.
Yeah.
We could do it if we had the kind of funding that these Christian networks do, but man, it's a lot harder to spread a message of peace and liberty than it is Christian fundamentalism, apparently.
Yeah.
So didn't mean to bring that conversation down, but back to the story here. For you, did you want to input something?
No, I mean, I'm just thinking about how New Hampshire is why I'm in New Hampshire.
Why are you in New Hampshire?
Well, I'm in New Hampshire because of freedom.
Indeed.
So the Free State Project, Shire Society, all that, which if you want to accomplish something, you can't spread out, and this is
and libertarians are too spread out, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's been a major failing of the liberty movement, is they've never had any concentration in any significant amount anywhere to actually do anything until now.
It's changing in the last 10 years
because of New Hampshire.
Right.
It's not changing anywhere else.
No, of course not. But I mean, the migration of liberty minded people here
is making a difference.
Yeah.
But then when you do get a bunch of libertarians together, they're going to sit there and argue about how they should actually wind up going about to implement liberty, and you've got a bunch of them that say, let's just infiltrate the Republican Party, and
which is why the political process is faulty, because ultimately these political parties have to allow everybody in. Even though the Libertarian Party has a signed statement that you're supposed to sign saying you don't support or advocate the initiation of force to achieve political or social goals, people violate that statement all the time within the Libertarian Party, and ultimately it's done nothing in the long run to keep unprincipled hacks like Bill Weld out of the party and attempt to do political takeover on that party. Whereas if you use media to broadcast a message, because again, politics is just one venue in which to spread the ideas of liberty.
Absolutely.
The media is another one, and restricting people's ability to speak on the air, which is what the FCC's job is gets in the way of alternative viewpoints getting out into a community, because the only way that a viewpoint can get out on broadcast media in any given geographic area is to go through the gatekeepers, and the gatekeepers are the people who have those radio stations. I'm not saying those people are bad people. We're on over 190 FCC licensed radio stations around the country. These people are trying to do a business. They're trying to entertain an audience. They're trying to make money, and some of them want to get a message out. There are certainly stations that have themes, that have broadcast, viewpoints that they're trying to get out there. It's just that the marketplace is limited. So only the most wealthy, the people who have the ability to jump through the hoops, the people who have the ability to hire the attorneys, to hire the engineering firms, to jump through the government's hoops, if they're even up. Sometimes the government doesn't even have a filing window open. So even if you have a bunch of money and all the attorneys and the engineering firm and the government's window's closed, you can't even file the application in the first place. They're going to say, "Oh, sorry, we're not accepting new FM station applications at this time." Well, when are you going to accept new FM applications? Well, whenever we feel like it. We don't have any dates currently set. We'll open the window whenever we darn well please.
And wasn't there a thing here in Keene not too long ago where they had an application window, 2 people applied, and then they couldn't figure out who to give the license to, so nobody got it?
Yeah, so they haven't given out a new license in Keene in however many years it's
really?
been.
But there's only like a few stations.
There's plenty of room on the dial in Keene, New Hampshire.
Couldn't you just give out licenses
to both? They could have done them
both?
both. That's right. They sure could have.
But they didn't want to.
So, they're busy at the FCC. We're coming up here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you experienced the miracle of CBDs? They can help you reduce suffering, reduce stress, help you sleep better, modulate inflammation in the body, and is absolutely safe. Meta Hemp Solutions offers a radically innovative approach to CBDs for exceptional results. Stop suffering and reduce your stress now. Isn't it time for a good night's sleep? Stop worrying about tomorrow today. Lab tested for potency, purity, and is non-psychoactive. Free shipping to all 50 states. Try our product risk-free, money-back guarantee. Use code GCN15 to get 15% off. That's code GCN15 to get 15% off. Offer ends soon, so visit MetaHemp Solutions today at metahempsolutions.com or call 833-858-7500. Suffer no more. Get rid of the stress and sleep better. Get our product now at metahempsolutions.com. That's metahempsolutions.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 17th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.70 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,180 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $70, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,505. Antiwar.com reports Congress has the power to set the foreign aid budget, but the Trump administration may not be planning on letting them keep it, with officials reporting that they are planning a rescission package to cut money out of the aid budget. The theory is that the administration could cut some of the money appropriated by Congress but not yet spent. The goal is to eliminate about $3.5 billion, including $200 million in frozen Syria aid and an unspecified amount of aid to the Palestinians. Senate leadership in both parties is loudly opposing this, this, complaining it would be a blow to both the State Department and U.S. aid. Senator Bob Corker said he's considering blocking the move, though despite being the Foreign Relations Committee chairman, he's not clear if there's a way to do that legally. President Trump wanted the cuts to foreign aid included in the budget originally, but Congress refused to do so. The Office of Management and Budget appears to believe that those cuts can still be made to happen. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports at least 1,400 Google employees signed a letter to company leadership demanding more transparency over a project the tech giant is working on that would be accepted by the Chinese government. The project is a search engine designed to comply with the Chinese government censorship laws, and Google employees said they need more information about the project to determine whether it raises any urgent moral and ethical issues. The employees said in the letter, "Currently, we do not have the information required to make ethically informed decisions about our work, our projects, and our employment." In 2010, Google removed its search engine from the Chinese web over censorship, but in 2016, Google began developing a new search engine codenamed Dragonfly to be more compliant with Chinese government demands. The Google employees stated in their letter that the decision to build Dragonfly was made in secret and progressed even with the artificial intelligence principles in place. It makes clear that the principles alone are not enough. We urgently need more transparency, a seat at the table, and a commitment to clear and open processes. Google employees need to know what we're building. Although Google appears to be working on a search engine designed to comply with Chinese government censors, it's not yet clear if officials would accept it. In audio of a meeting with employees that was obtained by the New York Times, Google CEO Sundar Pichai said the company was not close to launching a search product in China. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions on Thursday sought to speed up the deportation of undocumented immigrants, telling immigration judges they should only postpone cases in removal proceedings for good cause shown. Sessions, in an interim order that was criticized by some lawyers, said the good cause standard limits the discretion of immigration judges and prohibits them from granting continuances for any reason or no reason at all. Unlike the federal judiciary system, U.S. immigration courts fall under the Department of Justice, and the Attorney General can intervene. Sessions has been unusually active in his practice compared to his predecessors. Sessions has led efforts by the Trump administration to crack down on undocumented immigration, including a zero-tolerance policy that separated immigrant parents from their children while they were in U.S. detention. Trump abandoned the separation policy in June under political pressure. Sessions said on Thursday, critical in showing good cause is whether a person is likely to succeed in efforts to remain in the United States, either by appealing for asylum or receiving some form of visa or work permit. Stephen King, an attorney for the ACLU Immigrants' Rights Project, described Sessions' order as troubling and one of a series that has moved in the direction of restricting due process rights for individuals who are in removal proceedings. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after accidentally clicking like on nearly 400 of his ex-girlfriend's Facebook photos earlier today, panicked area man Adam Nuensing spoke to Onion reporters about his mistake.
Damn it, I was just looking at one of Rebecca's Instagram photos that showed up on my newsfeed, and the next thing I know, I just liked every single photo that she posted over the last 4 years. I didn't mean to, but it just kind of happened.
The 28-year-old told reporters that he had browsed through 14 of his ex-girlfriend's photo albums while inadvertently clicking like on each and every picture, including dozens from her office picnic last fall, her trip to New York in 2010, and a photo of her and her first boyfriend from 2006.
I thought if I went back and clicked unlike on all those pictures that maybe she wouldn't get any notifications, but then I saw some other albums and I ended up liking 80 more photos and shared them on my wall.
is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour here as we've been digging deep into this story, and it's also thanks to NPR partially for doing a pretty detailed story about the Austin, Texas radio station that it didn't happen this week that they got raided. They took down their transmitter apparently back in December of 2017 after years of correspondence with the FCC. It's still not clear exactly why they took it down because they'd continued to operate even in the face of multiple notices from the FCC saying, hey, this isn't legal, you need to stop. Their basic response initially was, well, if you're claiming we got some agreement with you saying that we are going to agree to follow your rules or your ordinances or whatever regulations, then please go ahead and show us that agreement. We'd like to see where we agreed to this. And of course the FCC never showed that because that doesn't exist. The FCC and the bureaucrats like it believe they have legitimate jurisdiction over your life just because
you exist in America, so therefore we're going to America.
Yeah, that's what it really all breaks down to. And so while there was some legal mumbo-jumbo that we really couldn't understand at one point...
Law of the land, law of the sea, this state, that state...
Yeah, there was some, and some of it was written in such a nebulous manner that you couldn't even possibly extract out of it. But but there's been other correspondence, and I want to continue on what the NPR story has to say, just kind of summarizing the situation with the Oleniks. This is the couple that is alleged to have run a pirate radio station in Austin, Texas. By the way, with you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Chris.
And Daryl.
And if you want to join us, your comments are welcome. Maybe you've got experience with pirate radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or you can use Discord over at discord.lrn.fm and jump in the Discord on-air call-in lines. So we talked about how the FCC issued a notice of apparent liability to the Oleniks back in 2013 in August. They wrote back saying, we don't have an agreement with you. If you're saying we have an agreement to follow your rules, show it.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, and then the FCC wrote them back basically saying, we're going to impose this fine of $15,000 upon you and blah, blah, blah. Here's all our regulations that we say apply to you. And so then the Oleniks, so that was like a 7-page letter from the FCC. The Oleniks then responded with a much more verbose letter of about 12 pages, which I have not read through at all. It's just too long for me to read during one of the breaks here. So that'll be interesting for me to read off the air. But let's continue here. So picking up with right after, this is the NPR piece, right after the Oleniks had responded initially to the FCC. So it says, a string of further letters followed much the same pattern, and in early 2014, the FCC imposed the $15,000 penalty, which, by the way, they always include their bank and routing number information, or their account and routing number, so you can just go right ahead and pay them that $15,000 fine if you got it handy.
It's interesting. It's not like a judgment from a court or a judge or anything.
We're sending you a bill, and here's how you pay it. Now, interesting that they give the routing number and the bank account number. I wonder if anybody has ever tried to hack into that and withdraw funds.
Write a fake check off the account. Those things can happen.
Yeah, if there's enough information there, you can definitely do it.
Olenek and Nadler Olenek did not pay the fine, and in November of that same year, the agency sent a letter threatening to bring in the Justice Department. Instead of seeing the penalty notice as an official warning of impending action, the Oleniks said they took a different view of the FCC's citation of federal regulations. They wrote, quote, "We look at the same compilation of words and see Monty Hall's 'Let's make a deal,' i.e. an offer. We decline your offer, as we have from the outset, and we will forever decline your offer," unquote. The Oleniks repeatedly referred to the FCC as a company, as when they stated in a letter to Susan Launer, the FCC's Deputy Associate General Counsel, quote, "We dispute your company's claim in its entirety for reasons already documented in our prior correspondence," unquote. In that letter, the Oleniks also wrote, quote, "Obviously, we'll be sending no check to anyone in response to your continued mail fraud conspiracy," unquote. They accused the FCC of trying to conjure a justification for the penalty, calling it, quote, "a conspiracy to harass us and to intimidate us for and retaliation of our very well-documented assertion of our right not to contract," unquote. Now, if the government exists to protect your right to contract, which is ostensibly one of the reasons why they exist, then shouldn't they also protect your right not to contract with their own entities? Because that's what's going on here is the FCC saying, you have to follow all these rules. The people running the radio station are saying, who are you people? Like, you're just some group of people somewhere who wrote a letter. It's signed the Federal Communications Commission. You've put a name on that letter. We don't know who you are. What is your, legal ability to say you've got a dispute with us? There is no real reason beyond they have men with guns who will do whatever it is that they say.
Right.
That's what all of this breaks down to.
Let me give an example that I think might resonate more closely with people, because people, the FCC, everybody knows what the FCC is. All right, so let's say that I create some entity and I write some bylaws for my entity that says that everybody that I send a letter to is under my jurisdiction and must comply with whatever I write in the letter. And then I just start sending out letters saying you owe me money.
That's fraud. It's clear fraud.
But
right?
I've written in my bylaws of this organization that everybody that I send a letter to
But what if
is
you started
subject.
an organization with more than one person? What if you and a dozen other people start an organization and you write some stuff down on a piece of paper, you all sign it, and then you send out letters?
They call that a government, I think, right?
Well, if you did call it a government, then it would be very similar to what the government has done, what the people calling themselves the government have done.
Right.
And then what if you all signed the letter and then you died years later and then your heirs continued sending letters threatening all those people? That's basically what the state is. It's a group of strangers who have a public process called elections that they allow anybody to vote, presumably. There's rules. There's a lot of rules.
There's a lot
on
of
that.
restrictions on that.
But they'll allow a bunch of people to participate in these chairman elections, basically.
Right. And they make it difficult for you to run if you're not part of one of two certain groups.
Correct. And then, of course, as we've seen, even if you are a purported liberty person, once you get into the political position, in a lot of cases, they get corrupted by the power that is at their fingertips. We've seen that happen with a couple of the politicians here in New Hampshire.
And then a lot of the other ones, they'll say, well, privately, they'll tell you, oh, I support liberty, I support this, I support that, but I can never sponsor that piece of legislation. Because X, Y, or Z.
That principal piece of legislation.
I can't vote for this because X, Y, and Z.
So that's pretty much the NPR story. It does point out that the FCC penalty has gone unpaid for 4 years, and the Justice Department has filed the civil suit. Oh, okay, so they did get the Justice Department. So it's the Justice Department apparently that's filing this case on behalf of the FCC.
Okay.
Which is what the claim was initially from the pirate radio operators that have sort of been following the legal cases for years. They said that the FCC's got to get the Justice Department to file suit. So the FCC can't just file suit on their own.
Okay.
So they have to go through the Justice Department.
I didn't pay attention when I pulled up the suit who had actually filed.
That's what they're saying.
I'm curious if they've increased the fine, right? Like, because that's one of the tactics that they
I don't know if they have the ability to
use.
I don't think they have the ability to do that. However, speaking of increased fines, there have been headlines within the industry newsletters. So, like, I'm signed up for some talk radio and radio industry newsletters that come through, and they've been following a case called the Pirate Act in Congress. And I believe the latest situation with this so-called Pirate Act is it has passed the House of Representatives, and it will dramatically increase, if it goes through, dramatically increase the proposed fines that the FCC can penalize pirate radio operators with. So instead of just being $10,000, it may go up to $1 million or something like that. Yeah.
That's insane.
And from what I read, and I have not looked for a follow-up in recent weeks, but as of a couple weeks ago, there was a headline claiming that the entire House voted for this. That unanimously, the entire U.S. House of Representatives voted for the Pirate Act, which would continue enforcement, would continue to focus the FCC's resources on enforcement.
That's just disgusting.
And would increase the level of fines. Now, again, if the Olenics go to court and they win, then $1 million fine ain't worth nothing. Because if you can win on a free speech argument or a we didn't consent argument, which I don't think they will.
Passed on a voice vote. on July 23rd through the House. No action in the Senate.
So we don't know who voted against it. If anyone voted against it, we don't know who they are. There's more coming up here in moments. You can share your thoughts on Pirate Radio, the freedom to broadcast. It's Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information, so pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Because we are smothering in spam, please do not reply to all when you can instead reply. I was recently among over 100 invited to a corporate reunion. It's always a warm affair, and that's the problem. Enthusiasm for our upcoming get-together caused many recipients to RSVP the organizer with a cheery reply to all. I can't wait. Then others piled on with a reply to all to that. Then the "I'm out of my office now" autoresponders joined in. So I replied to all, asking that we all reply only to the organizer. Hey, at least I tried. One invitee, apparently retired, shot back, "Point taken, but I really like seeing the responses since they're so positive." Smiley face. This better be an open bar. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything that you want. You can take control of the airwaves here. The number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Daryl.
So we're talking about pirate radio, specifically the case of the Oleniks, a couple in Austin, Texas. that is ostensibly the operators of the long-running Texas Liberty Radio, which is what it's currently branded as. It may have been something different in the past. It may have been different operators in the past. But there have been, for a long time, pirate radio stations, more than one of them at different times in Austin, Texas. And the operators of those stations are noteworthy because they've always been like extra ballsy. They've always been just openly operating to some extent for long periods of time, even in the face of FCC impending enforcement. And thanks to the NPR story, we covered some of the correspondence between the FCC and the Olenics. And there's more here. Recap, or the PACER system, which is the government system for looking up court cases. Recap is the way that you can kind of access documents through the PACER system without actually having to pay for them.
Right, and
which is nice.
Then it puts it up on the Internet Archive, and there are various websites that make those things easier to find. One of them that I stumbled across recently is Court Listener, which is a project of the Free Law Project.
So that makes it easier to search for cases and stuff.
The search is much easier than on other things that I have found.
So, as I was mentioning before, there was this flurry of paperwork between the Olenics and the FCC. Their initial response, the Olenics basically said to the FCC had told them, hey, you need to stop operating, you're not licensed. The Olenics said, well, who are you? You are. We don't have any agreements with you, whatever company you are, and we're not interested in agreeing with you and following whatever rules you have. So if you think we have an agreement with you, go ahead and show that. The FCC, of course, couldn't do that, so they just went ahead with their enforcement provisions and said, well, we're going to go ahead and fine you. And the FCC wrote them a 7-page letter, including their regulations as to why they were fining them. The Olenics wrote back a 13-page letter to them, which I'm sure rebutted in every way possible any level of consent to the FCC's rules. The FCC then wrote back to them in August of 2014 saying that they deny their petition for reconsideration filed by Walter Olenick and Ray Nadler Olenick. And I was, as I read that, I'm like, now I didn't read the whole 13-page document by the Olenicks, but it was not titled a petition for reconsideration. So I knew their response was going to be, what? What petition for reconsideration? So sure enough, in their response delivered via certified mail to Enforcement Bureau Deputy Chief William Davenport, the Olenicks filed a relatively short 1-page response saying, we are in receipt of your letter. This was in September that they wrote back in 2014. We are in receipt of your letter dated August 19th, 2014. We dispute your company's claim in its entirety for reasons already documented in our prior correspondence. We don't ever recall submitting any, quote, petition for reconsideration, unquote. To do so might be to agree that there's something at all competent about your bogus activity regarding us, whether substantive or procedural. We do not recall ever even remotely treating or considering your company's correspondence as anything other than just that. Correspondence. Once again, those on your side of this series of exchanges of perspective are presuming facts into existence that do not exist and to which we do not agree or consent. In further support of our position in this from day one, even to this very day, not only has your company confessed having no commercial nexus regarding either of us, but there's also still no evidence of any agreement, much less one that obligates either of us to any line of conduct or avoidance of conduct on which you're asserting your company's claim. You, like Mr. Lee and Mr. Carlson, these are the two other bureaucrats. They're passing it from bureaucrat to bureaucrat as well. So you got the old bureaucratic passing the buck here. First, it's the initial guy who's like the field agent, the enforcement agent who writes
I'm just doing my job,
the
lady.
notice. Then it's the head of the enforcement agency. And then
I'm just the guy that tells the guy to do his job.
Right. And now it's up to the deputy chief saying here, you, like Mr. Lee and Mr. Carlson, are still trying to run a bluff. You're presuming facts into existence that are not facts and that are not agreed to. Your legal conclusions, both procedural and substantive, are therefore quite errant. We assert again all of our rights, including the right not to contract. Sincerely, the Olenicks. So, by the way, we checked the court filings, and the initial filing was made by the government. It appears as though the Olenicks may not have been served just yet. There is an order of service in place in the file. That's the most recent document, I believe, but I don't think... Well, I don't know.
Summons issued as to M. Ray Nadler Olenick, Walter Olenek.
Does that mean it's been
August
served?
10th. Let me download that PDF real quick, and I will tell you. And while I do that, I pulled up info on the Pirate Act. Again, there was the voice vote, but I wanted to
This is
pull
the
up,
one to increase the fines on pirate stations.
Well, wanted to pull up the actual text of what is being adopted here. Increased general penalty. Any person who willfully and knowingly does or causes or suffers to be done any pirate radio broadcasting shall be subject to a fine of not more than $2 million.
Right, so they're going to go after the landlords as well. Suffers to be done.
And then there is violation of this act, rule, or regulation. Anyone who willfully and knowingly violates this act, regulation, rule, restriction, blah, da, 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 shall be subject to a fine of not more than $100,000 for each day that such offense occurs.
Is that up to a maximum of $2 million?
How does that affect the landlord?
Maximum.
Whoa.
And the third violation here, facilitation. This is where the landlord comes in. And they'll probably wind up hitting the operator with both the increased penalty and facilitation as separate offenses. Any person who knowingly and intentionally facilitates pirate broadcasting shall be subject to a fine of not more than $2 million.
I don't understand how the landlord has anything to do with it. The landlord's renting you a piece of property, and what you do with it is not their...
Their argument is going to be that they informed the landlord. So the first thing they do is
the landlord doesn't have the power. Like, you can't just kick a person out of property that they rented, particularly given the laws under which you have to operate in the first place, necessarily. Especially when it comes to contracts. If the contract says, doesn't have some sort of clause
saying you'll obey the law.
Right. And there's nothing in the law that says you have to have a contract that says that you...
That's a good point.
Right?
They could be right that this is ultimately just a legal bluff. That if the landlords, so if the FCC sends a threatening letter to the landlord, they're going to do what they say, right? Like, they're not going to stand up; they're going to crumble.
I'm sure
they're just a landlord. Right, they're not a pirate radio operator. So for the most part, then this is the way the FCC's done business for decades, where they send a threatening letter and they get what they want.
Yeah,
because it never goes any further than that. Because the operator shuts down. Or the landlord comes to the operator and says, "Hey, man, you got to shut it down." And then the operator shuts down. So if the landlord didn't know prior to the letter, they then know once they get the letter. And the FCC's argument is going to be, well, we told you.
I would think that the most you could be forced to do is hand that letter over to the operator, because you're not under...
There's a solid legal argument there. Like, if a landlord were to actually fight this, I think they could make that argument. So what's my obligation to enforce FCC regulations?
Well, and let's say that there's an apartment complex. Are you supposed to figure out which one of the 40 tenants?
Yeah.
I mean, it probably would be telling you at some point in the letter, but
they wouldn't know if it were an apartment complex.
They wouldn't know necessarily immediately.
Yeah.
If you're on, if you're on the 8th floor, how are they going to know standing on the ground with their direction finder which floor the transmitter's on?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's Free Talk Live.
ProPure Gravity Water Filters. Most tested, most trusted. The Pro One G2.0 all-in-one filter by ProPure removes and reduces up to 200 plus contaminants, including fluoride, lead, and more. There's no priming required, no add-on filter needed for fluoride reduction, and it's totally reusable. There's a size to fit most competitive brands of gravity water filter systems. ProPure Water Filters. When you don't know what's in your water, visit an authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com.
This is Jessica Armand, founder of My Magic Mud. Our team helped organize a successful effort to remove fluoride from our city's water supply. This is our passion. My Magic Mud Oral Care purifies and brightens your smile naturally. GCN listeners, please support my family business by purchasing our products from your local health food store. We're also available at CVS Pharmacy, or visit us at mymagicmud.com and take 10% off now with coupon code GCN10.
Free Talk Live.
People, they like to complain about the idea that the money is taxpayer dollars. It's not really true, is it? I mean, they were your dollars until you gave them to the government.
Right.
Now they're their dollars, and they're going to do whatever the hell they damn well want to do with them.
You're right.
It is still your money in that if a thief comes and steals money from you,
doesn't cease to be yours just because they stole it.
You still have a claim on that, but you don't have the ability to control the thief unless you actually have him in your custody. So that thief is going to go out and buy a big screen TV or do whatever, spend it on coke and whores or whatever it is that thieves do with the money that they steal. And
that's what the politicians do with it.
Yeah, you can call the thief on the phone and say, "I told you not to spend that money on whores," and he's going to say, "Well, thanks for the input." Noted.
I appreciate that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Discord on-air call-in line room. And you know what? I got to apologize to folks that might have been on hold there. I had... we got a little call screening software, and I had all these court documents up in front of it. So, if you've been on hold for a little bit, we're gonna get to your calls here.
We'll get to you, Sarah.
Yep, and also the Discord on-air call-in line room. Actually, she's not there yet, but Ralph is. The Discord on-air call-in line room is available to you. There's one person in there. We'll get to that too. We've been going deep into the case of the FCC coming after a couple called the Oleniks. That are being accused of running a pirate radio station in Austin, Texas. They've had an extended correspondence with the FCC, where the FCC is basically just running full steam ahead with their enforcement provisions. They're ignoring everything the Oleniks have said in response to them. So the FCC sends them a threatening letter saying, stop broadcasting. The Oleniks come back to them saying, well, look, we don't know who you are. What's your proof that we have any kind of agreement to follow whatever rules that you have? FCC ignores that. They go ahead and impose their fine on the Oleniks. The Oleniks respond with a 13-page letter, which I'm sure encapsulated says we don't consent, because that's sort of what they keep running through. Is like, we don't agree to your thing. The FCC comes back and says, well, we deny your petition for reconsideration. And the Oleniks say, we didn't petition you for reconsideration. That would presume that we had some kind of an agreement with you in the first place. We didn't file any petition. What are you talking about? And the FCC then says, we're going to sue you. So I'm summarizing their court
Right.
filings here. We're going to bring the Justice Department against you. And so their last letter from the Olenex here, this is another short one, so I'm going to share this one.
All right.
This is in response. This was written in November 26th of 2014. We're in receipt of your threat of suit letter. This was issued to the FCC's head attorney, their deputy associate, or one of their head attorneys, their deputy associate general counsel, Ms. Susan Lawner. We are in receipt of your threat of suit letter dated November 21st, 2014. We dispute your company's claim in its entirety for reasons already documented in our prior correspondence. So it's nice of them for not, continuing to restate the same things over and over. It keeps their letters shorter. We dispute your presentation of the procedures to date as well, especially the characterization that we've asserted any administrative activity by any label, like a petition. Your people have sent bogus demand letters, and we've responded to each of them, disputing the claims throughout. There's been no administrative activity or participation from our side. Your unilateral misconstruction of that doesn't change any of the relevant facts. We've never consented to any commercial nexus, including anything about any arbitration by anyone, especially by your company, of your company's bogus claims. All of this has been addressed in our prior correspondence. Obviously, we'll be sending no check to anyone in response to your continued mail fraud conspiracy. Finally, the Olenex write, quote, if the DOJ thinks your bluff is worth getting them sued as well, we look forward to showing you people very formally and publicly the application side of, quote, federal means, quote, federal, as in, quote, by agreement, unquote. You have no commercial nexus to enforce. Surprised, eh, Daryl?
I've never heard that the word federal means by agreement.
Well, according to dictionary.com, because that was my response, I'm like, that's interesting.
That is really interesting if that's the case.
According to the definition of federal, now this is not a legal definition, but I bet you it's in the legal dictionary as well. I just haven't pulled out a copy of Black's Law to take a look. Definition number 5, which is the last definition as an adjective. Federal means, quote, of or relating to a compact or a league, especially a league between nations or states.
Yeah, Merriam-Webster has that as the first definition, prepended, archaic.
You have no commercial nexus to enforce, and your company's continued intent to compel one, as your letter proves, is a conspiracy now involving you to harass us and to intimidate us for and in retaliation of our very well-documented assertion of our right not to contract. If you carry out your threat, be sure your malpractice insurance is paid. Boom! And that's the end of the correspondence in November of 2014. So between November in 2014 and August of 2018, no action happened. Now there's a filed suit in federal civil court against the Olenex by the Justice Department.
Unknown what caused them to take the station off the air in December 2017.
That's true. I'm hoping we can learn more from Danny Sessom. He is the host of the Crypto Show. We mentioned him earlier in the show tonight. I did reach out to him this evening with a Telegram message. He has not yet seen it, so I don't expect we're going to hear from him tonight. But I do want to get him on as somebody who, he's not the operator of the station,
right?
But obviously he knows the operators, right? He's running a live show, from what I understand, on that station. And again, he's the host of the Crypto Show. So I'm going to see if we can kind of make him our contact on the ground and maybe, ask him some questions we don't have answers to yet. And hopefully he'll update us maybe as this case develops.
Right.
Because right now the Olenex have yet to be served with this particular case from what we can tell.
Right.
Obviously they know from the news headlines that it's happening, and eventually somebody somewhere is going to find one of them and touch him with the document. Or maybe they'll get approval from a judge to serve it over Twitter or something like that, as we heard recently in a different case. The case against WikiLeaks is what they're trying to serve there, where the Democratic National Committee claimed to have served them on Twitter, and a judge approved it.
Wow.
So there's the story. I don't know if there's really much else to say. I think it was an interesting back and forth between the parties.
That was super interesting. Yeah. I can't believe they've taken it as far as they've taken it.
It's courageous. If I were in their shoes, I would probably have done something similar, essentially saying, I don't consent to this, and prove your claim.
Now what's interesting is, all right, so let's assume they lose, and there's a civil suit and or a judgment against them. I mean, it's a civil judgment. What can they actually do as far as collecting collecting that money.
Well, once the judgment's against them, then they can collect, right? If the judge says,
how would they go about collecting?
Well, if they have a bank account, it would be levied.
Seizure of assets.
Seizure of assets. Take that building.
Okay, so they sell the property off.
Yeah, if they own the building.
They own the building, okay.
If they weren't, if they didn't put it in a corporation that's not associated with their names, and it doesn't sound like they did, because
and what if they had? Could they take shares?
Could the FCC take shares? Well, not if you couldn't claim who owned the building.
I mean, of the corporation, assuming the building was in a corporation name.
But if the corporation is not their corporation, then the FCC can't file an action against it.
Hold on. No, what he's saying, if they own shares of a corporation, then yes,
they could take shares.
The federal government could take you own 5 shares of Boeing, and we've got a judgment against you, and the only liquid assets you have are those 5 shares of Boeing.
Which is why
we've got your 5 shares of Boeing.
I wonder what happens if it would be a foreign corporation.
It would be harder for them to, but they could still move against it because it's got a nexus in the United States with the ownership of the building. If the people who own so this is why the FCC is coming after landlords, because if they can't identify who owns such and such corporation, because there are things like bearer corporations out of New Mexico which don't have ownerships associated with them.
Ooh.
If they can't identify the owner, they still come after the corporation, and eventually the owner has to send somebody to court to defend the corporation.
Right.
So that's how they could kind of suss out who's affiliated with that corporation in that case. So this is going to be a fascinating case to continue watching. I really wish them the best. If there's anything that we can do to continue covering this and give them as much publicity as they can possibly get.
Oh yeah, this is definitely worth covering.
Like I said, I don't know if they're going to argue free speech in this case.
Either way, it's going to be interesting.
Doesn't sound like they will, though.
It doesn't sound like they will. Because they're going to say they don't consent to any of the federal government. But what if they come at it from a Republic of Texas thing? What if they're secessionists, Texas secessionists, and they come at it from, well, we have a freedom of speech in Texas. This is based in Austin, Texas. We're not, broadcasting over the border on purpose or anything like that. This station exists, solely in Austin. The signal doesn't go outside of Round Rock or whatever it is. And so Texas freedom of speech applies. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they do approach it. It sounds like they have no intention of hiring an attorney, so they're going to likely take this on their own. And I got to say, I wish I could attend the actual trial.
I mean, $15,000 is all they've got to lose. I would do it.
That's true. It's not a huge. It's not a huge risk, which is again why they're increasing it to $2 million if this Pirate Act passes. We got more coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Long-distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
Get relief for your neck or back pain when you search Amazon for Sunshine Pillows, heating wraps, and pads, often listed as an Amazon choice.
Why take another pill?
Now, from Sunny Bay and by customer demand, we introduce our extra long neck heating wrap, a complete wrap, wide and hands-free, and brings fast relief to those who suffer from neck or back pain.
You can easily find Sunshine Pillows on Amazon.
Or search Amazon for our new Sunny Bay disposable heat pads. Or look for Sunny Bay heated neck wraps for relief from back pain to menstrual pain and cramps.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder.
See why our company, Biomed DB Design, has a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. Just go to Amazon.com and search Sunny Bay, or call us 253-678-1361.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Moments remain. We got enough time for you if you want to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you are into cryptocurrency and you run a retail establishment and you've been wondering how to accept crypto at your point of sale, it could not be much easier than it is now, thanks to AnyPay.global. We use AnyPay as customers every single week. I think I can speak for all three of us here around the Keene, New Hampshire area, and we buy stuff because the vendors in the area, the merchants, they have the AnyPay software. It's there at their cash register. It's on a tablet. It's super easy to use. So if you've already got a tablet at your register, you are already halfway done. You can easily get signed up to accept Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Zcash, even more than that through AnyPay.global. It's so easy for your cashiers to use as well. The training is just lickety split. It's super fast, teaching people how to use AnyPay. So go to AnyPay.global. All you need to do to sign up is create a username and a password. That's it. There's no paperwork. There's no approval process. There's no application to fill out. You just create the username and password. You go into the setup. You put in your crypto wallet addresses where you want the crypto to be sent to from your customers, and you're done. Then you load the app up on your tablet and accept crypto. It's that simple. AnyPay.global. As we go to the phones, to the fun, and talk to Zach on the road, listening online via podcast later on. Go ahead, Zach. Zach?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
I was listening to a podcast from last night. You guys talked about Andrew Cuomo and his idiotic speech the other day.
Okay. I don't think I was there for it, but yeah, please summarize. What happened?
Well, he was at some sort of bill signing, and he was like, America was never that great, and America's never been great, and stuff like that. And, it shocked a lot of people, and, but the point is, this has, been all over the news the past few days. Mm-hmm. And I just find it, I find it sad that nobody's talking about the Libertarian candidate that's running in New York against them.
Well, nobody ever talks about the Libertarian candidates. So, I mean, are you new to politics?
I know. No, I'm not new. I'm just, find it sad that there's
libertarians talk about libertarians that run.
It is sad. However, I will say this: in New Hampshire, at least, most of the media, not all of them, but some of the media here in New Hampshire is pretty friendly to talking to alternative parties. For instance, NPR did a debate between the two libertarian candidates for governor, because we got two of them here in New Hampshire. We had a choice. And they had a debate.
The state is forcing us to have a primary.
That's true, but it is what it is.
Right.
Even if the state didn't force us to have a primary, there would still be an internal party discussion.
Right, and that would have
vote.
happened at our convention earlier.
So either way, we still had two candidates.
Larry Sharp got the nomination at the convention there in New York earlier in the year.
But New York is the Empire State, so you really shouldn't expect any real attention to be paid to a libertarian candidate in New York. It is not a freedom-friendly place. New York is the number 50th least free, or most free, I guess, most free state.
On the listing of freedom in the 50 states, New York is number 50.
Yeah, and New Hampshire is number 1. This is according to the Freedom in the 50 States chart that comes out every couple of years. Go ahead, Zach.
But so on that 50th in the free state thing, there's it's something like 70% of voters in New York don't vote because everybody knows they can't beat New York City.
Right.
And so, that's what I like about Larry Sharp is he's been going all over New York State.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been talking to people and I've seen a couple interviews with him and he's like, I go to every single place and I ask if somebody hasn't voted in the past few elections.
Most of them have.
And he gets people all the time that haven't voted at all.
You can't beat City Hall. Why bother?
Well, you gotta give it to him. He's trying at least.
Well, if you try and you keep hitting your head up against a big brick wall and you keep bashing your head open against a big brick wall, then what's the value in trying?
This is what I don't understand. Why New York? Why would you run for? Why would you run for anything
in New York?
Because people do not want to move.
He's from New York.
People don't. He's from New York, so therefore he must always stay in New York. It's ridiculous. It's such a lazy perspective.
It's a waste of time and energy.
It's such a waste.
I don't understand it.
I guess I can only understand it from the perspective of an object that stays at rest tends to stay at rest. A person in a place is most likely to just continue right where they are, doing the same old things they've always done, rather than actually do the smart thing and regroup with other people who care about freedom in the one place on the planet that's arguably one of the most free places on the planet, which is New Hampshire.
If you want change, you got to do something different.
Absolutely.
It's so ridiculous that people think that they can accomplish something where they are at home. If you were in New Hampshire already, I understand because we got the Free State Project and we got Shire Society, but otherwise, you need to move. You need to get up on your two legs and walk or drive or whatever.
If you're in New York, it's probably no more than a few hours to the east. It's the easiest move.
If you're in New York City, kind of
4 hours.
I moved from New Jersey. It's really not that hard. I sold one business. I had a second business. I migrated to New Hampshire here. I literally was 2 months. I had to sell a house, but hey, I sold the house. I bought a new house.
How much more success do we need to have before libertarians are like, maybe there's something happening there? How many libertarians do we need to have elected to office?
I'm amazed that people are still skeptical. I don't understand this. I've seen what we've accomplished here already.
Yeah, and you've only been here a couple of years.
Yeah, it's.
Go ahead, Zach. Man. Why are you still in New York? I presume that's where you are.
Well, no, I don't live in New York. Thankfully, but
where do you live?
I tend to. I'm from all over the place.
Well, why are you so concerned with the New York gubernatorial election? Why do you care?
Well, I care because I want liberty to spread. I want.
Well, why would you care about it spreading in the least likely of places? If you're going to pay attention to a gubernatorial race, why not pay attention to a place?
That's where the most combative people come from. From the most oppressed places. So I got to give it up to him. You guys may disagree, but
Well, I may agree with you that he's putting effort into his campaign. I'm going to take your word for it. I'm sure he's putting effort into his campaign.
He's doing a good job.
Well, great. How's the polling looking?
There was one poll that showed that he
10% or something.
Hold on. If you let me finish.
I was recalling what you might have said in the past. But
there was one poll that shows that he is polling better than the Republican in the race.
Okay, right.
But that's not saying much because it's New York.
Yeah, Republican. Right. I don't even know who the Republican is. He's an idiot.
They've not chosen the nominee yet.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't live there apparently, so he wouldn't necessarily know.
But no, the Republican and Democratic parties, their primary is September 11th. Yeah. So they haven't chosen their nominee yet.
Is going to be an idiot.
Well, of course, it's New York, and they're politicians. I mean, they're idiots everywhere, but New York's like the worst of the worst as far as places. It is on the list of the 50 states far below number 49, which is California. Right. It is way, 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 way less free than even California, which is, of course, incredibly unfree on its own volition. But, if you like watching people bang their head up against a wall until it explodes with, blood all over the place, then
I tend to
keep
be a
watching.
Little bit more hopeful.
New York.
But,
you have hope for New York? Obviously, you don't live there.
For everybody.
Well, that's nice. I mean, I definitely appreciate that. I would also like to have hope. I'm optimistic too. I've got hope for the whole world, but in order to have freedom elsewhere, we have to create it in one place. Yeah. So if we want freedom to spread, then it has to exist in one place. So why not focus your efforts? If you have efforts to focus, if you have got time and you've got money, why not focus it on the New Hampshire Liberty Movement, which is already winning? We've already got libertarians who are sitting in office in the state capitol. We've got more libertarians running here. We've got libertarians actually seated party members in office, but there are also Republicans and Democrats who are running as who are sort of secretly libertarians. We've had all this political success, and no other state combined has come to the level of the New Hampshire Liberty Movement. Would you dispute that?
I honestly disagree. Yeah, I do.
What part of that do you dispute?
I think you're underestimating the amount of libertarians that are forming in places like New York and New Mexico.
How new to you? Wait a minute. Do you know how many libertarians have been elected outside of New Hampshire?
None.
To what level?
From what I know.
Well, it depends on what level. Okay. Pennsylvania has a bunch of people elected to municipal things as libertarians because Pennsylvania has partisan municipal elections.
Okay.
Florida has a bunch of people
like soil
elected
and water commission or
to partisan municipal things because Florida has partisan municipal elections.
Yeah, I wish we had more time because I'd love to hear Zach dispute my claim that that New Hampshire is the best place for liberty.
Call in earlier tomorrow, Zach.
I would love that to happen, or any night of the week.
I was thinking the reps, and I think it's like one elsewhere and 20 in New Hampshire.
To be fair to Zach, he did call in earlier. I didn't notice his call on the line.
3 in New Hampshire.
So call another night, Zach. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, technically, right.
Check out more at 101reasonsfilm.com if you want to learn about New Hampshire if you're a libertarian. See you tomorrow.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, August 17th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.70 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,180 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $70, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,505. Antiwar.com reports Congress has the power to set the foreign aid budget, but the Trump administration may not be planning on letting them keep it, with officials reporting that they are planning a rescission package to cut money out of the aid budget. The theory is that the administration could cut some of the money appropriated by Congress but not yet spent. The goal is to eliminate about $3.5 billion, including $200 million in frozen Syria aid and an unspecified amount of aid to the Palestinians. Senate leadership in both parties is loudly opposing this, complaining it would be a blow to both the State Department and U.S. aid. Senator Bob Corker said he's considering blocking the move, though despite being the Foreign Relations Committee chairman, he's not clear if there's a way to do that legally. President Trump wanted the cuts to foreign aid included in the budget originally, but Congress refused to do so. The Office of Management and Budget appears to believe that those cuts can still be made to happen. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports at least 1,400 Google employees signed a letter to company leadership demanding more transparency over a project the tech giant is working on that would be accepted by the Chinese government. The project is a search engine designed to comply with the Chinese government censorship laws, and Google employees said they need more information about the project to determine whether it raises any urgent moral and ethical issues. The employees said in the letter, "Currently, we do not have the information required to make ethically informed decisions about our work, our projects, and our employment." In 2010, Google removed its search engine from the Chinese web over censorship, but in 2016, Google began developing a new search engine codenamed Dragonfly to be more compliant with Chinese government demands. The Google employees stated in their letter that the decision to build Dragonfly was made in secret and progressed even with the artificial intelligence principles in place. It makes clear that the principles alone are not enough. We urgently need more transparency, a seat at the table, and a commitment to clear and open processes. Google employees need to know what we're building. Although Google appears to be working on a search engine designed to comply with Chinese government censors, it's not yet clear if officials would accept it. In audio of a meeting with employees that was obtained by the New York Times, Google CEO Sundar Pichai said the company was not close to launching a search product in China. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions on Thursday sought to speed up the deportation of undocumented immigrants, telling immigration judges they should only postpone cases in removal proceedings for good cause shown. Sessions, in an interim order that was criticized by some lawyers, said the good cause standard limits the discretion of immigration judges and prohibits them from granting continuances for any reason or no reason at all. Unlike the federal judiciary system, U.S. immigration courts fall under the Department of Justice, and the Attorney General can intervene. Sessions has been unusually active in his practice compared to his predecessors. Sessions has led efforts by the Trump administration to crack down on undocumented immigration, including a zero-tolerance policy that separated immigrant parents from their children while they were in U.S. detention. Trump abandoned the separation policy in June under political pressure. Sessions said on Thursday, critical in showing good cause is whether a person is likely to succeed in efforts to remain in the United States, either by appealing for asylum or receiving some form of visa visa or work permit. Stephen King, an attorney for the ACLU Immigrants' Rights Project, described Sessions' order as troubling and one of a series that has moved in the direction of restricting due process rights for individuals who are in removal proceedings. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After years of weekly meetings with his
Hi, I'm Clint Webb, and I'm running for Senate. I have a short cropped haircut, a pretty enough yet accessible looking wife, and a newborn baby that I've dressed in a suit to prove to you that I mean business. For the last 15 years, I've lived my life in such a bland, uncontroversial, and repressed manner that it's almost unnatural. Why? Because I've been preparing to be a representative since I was a child. Most well-adjusted, sane men would be hesitant to take a job where their decisions would so drastically affect the lives of so many. But not me. I possess a sort of sociopathic narcissism that makes me think that I should be in charge of everyone. But all of that needs to start here at home, in this beautiful state that I've grown to love since I moved here.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Torchwood Report. I am Matthew Taylor, joined as always by the one true Niz. Today is Friday, August 10th, 2018, and guys, we have a hell of a show in store for you. But before we get to it, as always, I'm going to kick it to Niz with our weekly announcement.
This broadcast is covered by the BIPCOT No Government License. What that means is that you are free to use or rebroadcast portions or segments of this show so long as you are not an agent or advocate for government. If you fail to heed this warning, you will be socially shamed. For more information, please visit bipcot.org. That's BIPCOT.org.
So, holy crap, has this
Holy
week been
Toledo!
interesting. I mean,
yeah,
all
this
right,
has been
so
a weird. Hang on, wait.
Yeah.
Wait. Because you cannot just jump right into this week without prefacing the week before. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, let's give a rundown of last week. Let's recap, because a lot of this is like to be continued.
Right. It's really crazy. So we began with banning straws. That was the big hubbub, right? Was the straw ban and craziness in California. They're going to put you in jail. If you get caught dispensing plastic straws, you get a fine, you get jail time. It's absolute absurdity, lunacy right there from the beginning.
Right.
Then later in the later part of last week, there was some goings on with the 3D printed guns, which was pretty big.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty big news. States are trying to, squash it, suppress it. They're trying to take it down. They're trying to stop it wherever they can. Basically trying to cut the head off of a hydra, I think is probably the best analogy
about
for that.
Right.
Right, and then just as quickly as people were getting fired up over 3D guns, this week happens. And now I'll let you lead into that, because just like that, we stopped talking about 3D guns because of what we're about to start talking about now.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're really trying to, get rid of the Second Amendment, of course, why don't attack one that you're gonna eventually lose? I mean, but do that one openly. So shot number one was fired this week on Monday, as a lot of people woke up to find out that InfoWars and Alex Jones had been completely removed from Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter, basically.
I think Twitter punked out. Didn't Twitter punk out?
Yeah, Twitter punked out. Like that was me coming back, and it was Spotify and Snapchat. All of those pulled out of Alex Jones and InfoWars, which, surprisingly enough and concerning enough, came to a lot of it didn't come to as much animosity as I thought it would. Because, I mean, I heard it, and as much as I don't agree with a damn thing Alex Jones really says, I did not find comfort in the fact that he was snuffed out of, media existence overnight. How do you feel?
Well, here's the thing, man, right, is that, number one, have to make it very clear that Facebook is a private company. They can do what they want with their product.
Agreed.
My stand is not going to change. That they can't do what they want with their product. I certainly don't want the government to come step in and do something. I mean, I've heard a lot of people propose.
No, that I agree with.
The government has to do something. Facebook can't do this.
Yeah, no, the government needs to stay the hell out of the way.
Right? Yeah, to my friends on the right, I would say, yeah, dude, are you telling me that you're telling Facebook just to bake their cake? I mean, is that's what you're saying, that Facebook has to bake the cake?
See, but here's the concerning part, okay? Because you're right, and you're right on par with the fact that Facebook and these companies can treat Alex Jones and InfoWars exactly how they choose to, as being the company and entities that they are. But the part of it that has come under concern, and that really is the meat of this, is of course the reactions that you've been getting from not only civilians but people talking to the talking heads themselves. And it was not very long before the next chopping or head on the chopping block showed up, and it wasn't a person, it was a news outlet. It was Fox Media.
Well, it was, and it was even besides that, man. It's even besides that. The banhammer. Let's be honest about all of this, okay?
Okay.
It started with things like shadow, but they were shadow banning people. I got tongue tied there. They were shadow banning people where like you still have your account and you still, you can still do the things you do, but you're shadow banned, so people don't see the comments that you post or the things that you post on your wall. And then they moved into outright banning people, and then they came down with this Alex Jones stuff. And since then, I think there's been a handful of others. I know there's a bunch. There's a shitload that are in the crosshairs. I mean, all you have to do is just read through the liberal rags, go to Salon, and see what they're saying. I mean, what you mentioned is along the same lines. I mean, that's something that I brought to the table for tonight was de Blasio's comments on how the nation would be more unified without Fox News. Well, okay.
Like, now, see, here's what I'm saying. All right, because we're on one of those odd precipice where both ways is going to open up a shitstorm, because in one aspect, you've got people and political figures calling for the government to yet again step in and deal with Facebook. Facebook is getting the kind of attention that you would expect a leader of a foreign country trying to do business, as opposed to a kid from college who made a place for people to go put pictures and try to have sex with each other. You don't expect, where's Tom, and why didn't Tom ever end up in front of Congress with some of the things that they were doing at MySpace? You know what I mean? But Facebook's become so integrated into our society that here we are having somebody blocked from it, and you legitimately have people wanting him dragged out in question for what he's doing to